Chapter 1552. Young Master Han, look, there's a great beauty over there. When Yi Chen-feng and Xiao Wendy were choosing treasures under the ancient racks, a man with a sharp face wearing a green robe noticed the devastatingly beautiful Xiao Wendy. His eyes lit up, and he immediately said to the man beside him, who was holding an ancient altar and carefully examining it, as expected of a peerless beauty, to my liking. The man put down the ancient altar in his hand and glanced at Xiao Wendy from afar. His flat eyes immediately revealed a fiery expression. Come, let's go over and say hello. Miss, this one is Han Tumming, the eldest young master of the Han family. Can I get to know you? Han Tumming lightly held a jade fan with a picture of a beauty on it and said with a smile on his face. Nope. Xiao Wendy hated Han Tumming's fiery gaze and took the initiative to grab Yi Chen-feng's arm and refused without hesitation. I don't have any evil intentions. I just want to get to know you. Han Tumming still had a smile on his face and said without giving up, Isn't it too disrespectful for you to refuse like this? A good dog doesn't block the road, move aside. Yi Chen-feng had just ascended to the heaven domain, so he did not want to cause any trouble. However, not causing any trouble did not mean that he was not afraid of trouble. Yi Chen-feng said coldly as he looked at Han Tumming, who had ill intentions. And, are you talking about me again? Han Tumming frowned slightly as a stern look appeared in his deep eyes. He looked at Yi Chen-feng and said in a deep voice, Don't worry. Could it be that you think I'm talking about someone else? Yi Chen-feng smiled and said, You have guts. Han Tumming's expression slowly turned cold. I hope that after leaving the Heaven Treasure Pavilion, you can still be so stubborn. The people I have my eyes on have not escaped from my grasp yet. After saying that, Han Tumming deeply looked at Yi Chen-feng and Xiao Wendy and left with his two followers. Miss, who are they? Looking at the backs of Han Tumming and the other two leaving, Yi Chen-feng came to the side of the woman in white dress and asked in a low voice. They are from the Scarlet Thunder City's Han clan. That Han, too, is the eldest son of the Han clan. Relying on the Han clan as a big tree, he has harmed many girls in the Scarlet Thunder Pearl. The woman in white said slowly, Based on my understanding of that Han Tumming, he definitely won't let this go. Why don't the two of you leave quickly? Many thanks for young lady's kind intentions. Yi Chen-feng smiled faintly. This one still has a question. How strong is the Han family? The Han clan controls quite a large force in Crimson Thunder City. Han Tumming's father, the patriarch of the Han clan, seems to be a one-star Dao Emperor expert. The white-dressed woman said truthfully. One-star Dao Emperor. After learning about the Han clan's strength, Yi Chen-feng relaxed. With the strength and foundation in front of him, he could easily kill a one-star Dao Emperor expert. Are you two really not going to leave? The woman in white asked softly as she watched Yi Chen-feng and Li Wuyo choose the antiques with interest. No hurry. After saying that, Yi Chen-feng closed his eyes and controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly deduce and sense the antiques displayed on the treasure shelves. After the God-Eater brain quickly sensed for a while, Yi Chen-feng suddenly opened his eyes. He jumped slightly and took down 3 severely damaged array flags that were placed on the treasure shelves. After blowing off the dust on the flags, he carefully appraised them and handed them over to Xiao Wendy. Chen-feng, are you interested in these 3 array flags? Xiao Wendy asked in puzzlement when she saw that the 3 array flags that Yi Chen-feng handed over were severely damaged and had almost no value. And I feel that these 3 array flags are still somewhat useful. I will go back and study them. Yi Chen-feng nodded and said. After choosing the 3 array flags, Yi Chen-feng found an earthen jar on an ancient shelf. Although this earthen jar was very old, it did not have a trace of spiritual energy fluctuation and seemed to be worthless. After choosing 2 items, Yi Chen-feng did not find any other antiques that could attract him. He slowly walked to the entrance of the hall and asked, May I know the value of these 3 array flags and this earthen jar? If young master really wants them, just give me 50,000 mid-grade heaven crystals. The value of antiques was limited. The woman in white took a closer look at the 3 antiques that Yi Chen-feng had chosen and said, All right, Yi Chenfeng nodded. Then he happily paid 50,000 medial-grade heavenly crystals and bought the 4 ancient items. Yi Chenfeng took out a piece of paper and wrote down 18 types of rare materials before asking, "By the way, young lady, I still need some refining materials. May I know if you have any?" "Yes, but the heavenly pattern stone and warm jade that young master needs are not cheap. If you buy them all, I'm afraid you will need 200,000 mid-grade heaven crystals." The woman in white nodded and said, 200,000. Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly. He did not expect these 18 types of refining materials to be so expensive. They were equivalent to 2 supreme-grade sacred artifacts. However, these materials were useful to him, so he still paid 200,000 mid-grade heaven crystals to buy the 18 types of refining materials, including the heavenly pattern stone. Although Yi Chenfeng did not manage to gather 600,000 medial-grade heavenly crystals from the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion, he managed to buy something that caught his eye. This was especially so for the 4 great ancient items. This made him secretly happy, and he prepared to study them properly. "Let's go. Let's find a place to rest." After walking out of the Heavenly Treasure Pavilion, Yi Chenfeng discovered that the Han clan's people did not stop him outside. However, he knew that the Han clan's people would definitely not let him off so easily. However, he was not afraid. He came to an inn with pleasant scenery and rented an elegant room to rest. "Chenfeng, what exactly is the value of these 4 antiques that you bought?" Xiao Wendy could not tell the value of the 4 antiques that Yi Chenfeng bought as she asked in puzzlement. Originally, these 3 array flags weren't of much value, but with these 18 types of refining materials, it's different. The reason why Yi Chenfeng bought the 3 array flags was that after the God-Eater brain evolved, it had produced several soul fragments. One of the soul fragments remembered how to repair the array flags. Therefore, he bought the 3 array flags and gathered the 18 types of materials needed to repair the array flags in an attempt to repair them. "Then what about this earthen jar?" Xiao Wendy continued asking. "I'm not very sure about the exact value of this earthen jar, but it definitely hides a secret. Back when the God-Eater brain sensed the entire ancient temple, only this earthen jar resonated with it. Therefore, Yi Chenfeng was very certain that this earthen jar was definitely not simple." "All right, Matzi, have a good rest. I don't think it will be peaceful tonight. You should conserve your energy and wait for a big fight with me," Yi Chenfeng said with a faint smile. "Chenfeng, you want to attack the Han family?" Xiao Wendy said in astonishment. She was astonished at Yi Chenfeng's guts. "No, the Han family will definitely attack us, and we are just defending ourselves." Yi Chenfeng shook his head and said, "After we destroy the people who have designs on you, we'll make a trip to the Han family and make them pay a price." With that said, he summoned the supreme-grade sacred treasure, the Fey, the Archfurnace. He awakened the purple-eyed mystic rhinoceros soul, and threw the 3 array flags and the 18 types of refining materials into the Fey, the Archfurnace. He ignited the heaven-incinerating sacred flame and began refining it in an attempt to repair the 3 array flags. Chaos Divine Wood. When Yi Chenfeng repaired the array flags, he summoned his intrinsic treasure, the Chaos Divine Wood. He controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to extend a large number of roots into the earthen jar. He wanted to use the Chaos Divine Wood to test the secrets hidden in the mysterious earthen jar. Remember URL. Sandwich Chinese Network. Chapter 1553. What kind of power is this? When the roots of the Chaos Divine Wood shattered the mysterious earthen jar and swallowed a large amount of soil into the tree, Yi Chenfeng could still feel an extremely powerful energy from the Chaos Divine Wood. By Chinese Network? Sacred Spirit Land. This is the power of the Sacred Spirit Land. Under the repeated detection of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chenfeng unexpectedly discovered that the secret hidden in the earthen jar was actually a legendary soil of the Heaven region, the Sacred Spirit Land. The greatest function of the Sacred Spirit Land was to nourish the extraordinary items of heaven and earth. For the Chaos Divine Wood, it was definitely the best nourishing item. Regardless of whether I can repair the 3 ancient flags or not, The 50,000 mid-grade heaven crystals were worth it. Yi Chen-feng felt that after the chaos divine would swallow the sacred spirit land, it would definitely transform again. At that time, the power of the chaos divine would probably surpass the low-grade true spirit saint artifact and be comparable to the green phoenix sacred bow. Time passed by slowly, and soon the sky turned dark. Just as the chaos divine wood was transforming after absorbing the sacred spirit land, and the demon emperor furnace was melting the 18 kinds of refining materials to repair the 3 ancient flags. Yi Chen-feng's powerful soul power sensed more than 10 powerful auras quietly approaching. He opened his tightly shut eyes. "You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Yi Chen-feng summoned the ancient sky-shrouding diagram and hid in the side room, waiting for Han Tuming and the rest to barge in. Boom! The side room's restriction was forcefully shattered by brute force, and Han Tuming led 13 Han family experts to barge in. In order to avoid any unexpected incidents, 3 of the 13 experts that Han Tuming brought along had the strength of a 6-star Dao Master. When the 3 of them joined forces, they could definitely contend against a 1-star Dao Emperor. "Kid, I've said it before. The woman that I fancy will never escape from my palm." Han Tuming revealed a sinister expression as he looked at Yi Chen-feng with eyes full of killing intent. "I'm afraid I won't let you do as you wish this time." As he spoke, Yi Chen-feng activated the ancient sky-shrouding diagram and sealed the entire space, sealing Han Tuming and the rest in the side room. "What? With your strength as a 3-star Dao Saint, do you think you can threaten me?" With the support of 3 6-star Dao Masters, Han Tuming did not take Yi Chen-feng seriously at all and sneered. 3-star Dao Saint. The smile on Yi Chen-feng's face grew even wider. "Open your dog eyes wide and look at my current realm." With that, Yi Chen-feng stopped using the Mirage blood to hide his aura and revealed his true strength in front of Hemingway Map and the others. 6-star Dao Master, who are you? In order to hide your strength, what are you planning to do in Red Thunder City? Sensing Yi Chen-feng's rising strength, the smile on Han Tuming's face froze. He widened his eyes and stared at Yi Chen-feng, a strong sense of uneasiness rising in his heart. "Isn't it too late to ask about my identity now?" As he spoke, Yi Chen-feng took a step forward with his sword and transformed into a thunderous sword shadow, suddenly attacking Han Tuming. "Protect Master Han." The expressions of the 3 6-star Dao Masters changed slightly. Instinctively, they wanted to stand in front of Han Tuming and force Yi Chen-feng to retreat. For times the flow of time, Yi Chen-feng, who was flying at high speed, suddenly sped up the flow of time by 4 times. Before the 3 6-star Dao Masters could rescue him, he appeared in front of Han Tuming, who had turned pale with fright. His right hand grabbed Han Tuming's neck at lightning speed and retreated. Don't mess around. If you dare to hurt me, I promise you won't be able to leave Red Thunder City alive." Han Tuming wanted to struggle when Yi Chen-feng grabbed his neck. However, Yi Chen-feng's strength was so much stronger than his that he could not produce any Dao power in his body. He had to use the Han family to pressure Yi Chen-feng. "Sigh, if I was afraid of the Han family, I wouldn't have attacked you." Yi Chen-feng shook his head and said coldly. With the help of the God-Eater brain, he penetrated into Han Tuming's soul sea and quickly searched his soul. Sure enough, there is only one 1-star Dao Emperor in the Han family. Yi Chen-feng was completely relieved after knowing the true strength of the Han family. Although he had just ascended to the celestial realm, the strength he controlled was enough to wipe out the Han family. "It's all our fault today. If you let Master Han go, we'll compensate you accordingly," the oldest 6-star Dao Master shouted. "Don't worry. After I kill you, I'll go to the Han family and get the compensation personally." With that, Yi Chen-feng exerted a little force with his right hand and crushed Han Tuming's body defense with a force of more than 100 million pounds. He broke his neck and shattered his soul, killing him on the spot. Master Han, seeing Han Tuming die in a pool of blood, the 13 masters of the Han family were all dumbfounded. They did not expect Yi Chen-feng to be so bold as to kill Han Tuming in public. "What are you waiting for? Take them down and hand them over to the master." The old man sensed the seriousness of the situation and shouted. He and the 13 masters of the Han family besieged Yi Qianfeng. "Mo Ba, come out." In order to end the battle, Yi Qianfeng summoned Mo Ba, who was a 6-star demon master, to face the 13 masters of the Han family. Holy fire, triple transformation, primordial blood, burn. After breaking through to the 6-star Dao Master realm, Yi Qianfeng's strength became even stronger. When he used his trump card to increase his strength, he directly surpassed the limit of a 6-star Dao Master and temporarily possessed the strength of a 1-star Dao Emperor. His physical strength was more than 3 billion, and it crushed the attacks of the Han family's masters as easily as crushing dry weeds. Screams of agony could be heard one after another. One by one, the Han family's masters were mercilessly killed by Yi Qianfeng and Mo Ba. A large amount of blood splattered on the ground and flowed. Capture that woman. After witnessing Yi Qianfeng and Mo Ba's terrifying battle prowess, the Han clan's experts trembled. They cast their gazes towards Xia Wendy, wanting to capture her and use her life to threaten Yi Qianfeng. You're courting death. Seeing that the 2 masters who captured Xia Wendy were only 3-star Dao masters, Yi Qianfeng shook his head. With Xia Wendy's current strength, even a 5-elements Dao master could not threaten her, let alone a 3-star Dao master. What? A Xin-level Dao diagram. Before the 2 3-star Dao masters could attack, they were stunned by the Xin-level Dao diagrams that gushed out of Xia Wendy's body, and their reactions slowed down. In the next moment, Xia Wendy launched a fierce attack on the 2 of them. The 3 Xin-level Dao diagrams turned into flowing water and poured into the dual demon sabers. She slashed at the 2 3-star Dao masters of the Han family, cutting them in half and killing them on the spot. Let's go. When the remaining 3 6-star Dao masters saw that Xia Wendy's strength was equally terrifying, they immediately wanted to retreat and leave as soon as possible. Green Phoenix Sacred Bow explode. Yi Qianfeng summoned the Kirin Kingdom and burst out 3 billion kilograms of strength. In an instant, he continuously drew the bow and shot 3 Green Phoenix Sacred Arrows at the 3 6-star Dao Masters. Although the 3 of them were powerful, they could not withstand the attack of the Green Phoenix Sacred Arrows. Before the 3 of them could scream, they were shot by the terrible attack power of the Green Phoenix Sacred Arrows and died. Sky-burning Sacred Fire melt. After killing Han Tumming and the others at lightning speed, Yi Qianfeng immediately spat out the sky-burning Sacred Fire, melting their bodies and destroying the evidence. Because the whole idea was blocked by the ancient sky-shrouding scroll, Yi Qianfeng did not alarm anyone when he killed Han Tumming and the others. Let's go to the Han family and seek justice. Yi Qianfeng moved his mind and put the remains of Han Tumming and the others into the Qinquan realm. Then he took Xia Wendy and left the inn, which was filled with a strong smell of blood. According to the soul memory in Han Tumming's mind, they came to the Han family mansion, which was shrouded in darkness. Chapter 1554. Qingfeng, if we go in like this, there won't be any accidents, right? Although the Han family is nothing to be afraid of, the Han family is only a second-rate family in the Scarlet Thunder Pearl. If there's an accident while robbing the Han family, then their situation will be very dangerous. Buy Chinese network? Don't worry, I have a way. Yi Qianfeng's lips curled up. He gently pulled Xia Wendy's small hand and said, "After we go in, don't say anything. Leave everything to me." After saying that, Yi Qianfeng walked towards the heavily guarded Han family mansion. "Stop, who are you? Why did you come to my Han family mansion in the middle of the night?" The 2 Han family guards outside the mansion saw Yi Qianfeng and Xia Wendy walking in the dark night. Their faces sank as they loudly reprimanded. "If you want Han Tumming to live, then obediently send a message to the Han family head. If you delay any longer, even the gods won't be able to save Han Tumming." Yi Qianfeng coldly said, Who are you?" The 2 Han family guards knew that Han Tumming had brought experts out tonight. Their faces slightly changed as they loudly asked, "What? You still want to ask such useless nonsense?" Yi Qianfeng coldly said, I have a bit of patience. If you don't send a message, then I will leave immediately. The consequences of this matter will be borne by the two of you. Good, you wait here. I will go inform the family head. The Han family guards felt the seriousness of the situation. They didn't dare to make a decision and obediently ran into the Han family mansion to report. Soon, the quiet Han family mansion was brightly lit. A powerful aura appeared in the main hall. The two of you, the family head, is waiting for you in the main hall. Please follow me. The Han family guards opened the mansion door and personally led Yi Chun-feng and Xia Wendy to the main hall. Entering the Han family mansion, Xia Wendy's face slightly tightened. Clearly, she was still worried about the business in her heart. Don't be afraid. Leave everything to me. There won't be any big problems. Yi Chun-feng calmly said as he tightly gripped Xia Wendy's soft little hand, making her uneasy heart relax a lot. Family head, the two people who came to report have been brought here. The Han family guard stood in the brightly lit hall and respectfully reported. Let them in. A deep voice rang out in the hall, echoing in the ears of Yi Chun-feng and Bai Yunfei. Obviously, the Han clan's patriarch wanted to give Yi Chun-feng and Li Qiye a show of strength. Who are you? What happened to the map? In the Red Thunder City, the head of the Han family was not afraid of anything happening to Han Tumming. He coldly stared at Yi Chun-feng and Xia Wendy as he questioned them in a dignified manner. When he saw Xia Wendy, a stunned expression appeared in his deep eyes. His gaze couldn't help but be attracted by Xia Wendy's peerless appearance. Han Tumming is dead. I killed him. Yi Chun-feng pulled Xia Wendy over to one of the two empty armchairs. He poured himself a cup of spirit tea and gently took a sip as he spoke. What? Yi Chun-feng's words caused a huge uproar in the Han family's hall. Although Han Tumming's evil deeds were endless, he was deeply loved by the elders of the Han family. This was also the reason why the Han family always stood up for him and quelled his troubles. Now that they heard the news of his death, everyone present was furious. How dare you? You killed my son and still dare to come to my Han family to show off. The patriarch of the Han family was mad. The killing intent in his body leaked out as he locked onto Yi Chun-feng and Li Qiye. He angrily roared, Patriarch of the Han family, don't you want to know why I killed your son? Yi Chun-feng ignored the oppressive aura. He drank his spirit tea and said, Also, I advise you to not be so agitated. Since I dared to come here, I naturally didn't come here to die. Who are you? Looking at Yi Chun-feng, who didn't reveal a trace of panic and even had a trace of contempt in his eyes, the patriarch of the Han family tried his best to calm himself down and asked in a low voice. Yi Chun-feng put down the teacup in his hand and looked at the patriarch of the Han family, who had a gloomy expression. Who I am is not important. What's important is that your son really angered me. He made me want to flatten your Han family. What big words. You really think that my Han family is a soft persimmon that you can bully? The more arrogant Yi Chun-feng's tone was, the more the patriarch of the Han family and the others were apprehensive. It made them constantly speculate about Yi Chun-feng's identity. What? You wanted to play hard? Yi Chun-feng suddenly crushed the jasper teacup and said, All right, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. After he finished speaking, a terrifying aura spread out from Yi Chun-feng's body and instantly enveloped the entire main hall. Feeling this aura, everyone present was stunned. It became difficult to breathe, and cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. They felt like mice that had seen a cat. Although they couldn't determine what kind of expert was releasing this aura, they could be sure that the strength of the owner of this aura was definitely above the Dao Emperor level. It was very likely that it was released by a Dao Master expert. Thinking that Yi Chun-feng had the protection of a Dao Master expert behind him, the patriarch of the Han family and the others felt as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. They finally understood why Yi Chun-feng was so arrogant. After killing Han Tumming, he even dared to come to the Han family to seek justice. If he had the protection of a Dao Master expert, then even if he destroyed the Han family, no one in Crimson Thunder City would stand up for them. The number of forces that could send a Dao Master as a bodyguard could be counted on one hand in the entire Heaven region. Thinking of this, the Han clan head revealed a bitter smile. He knew that now was not the time to think about how to avenge Han Tumming. Instead, he should be thinking about how to appease Yi Chen-feng and the expert behind him, who seemed to be a Taoist master. Young master, please calm down. Senior, please calm down. This matter is my Han family's fault. I hope that young master, senior won't take offense. The patriarch of the Han family lightly wiped the sweat on his forehead and said in fear, "What? Are you afraid now? Isn't it too late?" Yi Chen-feng's voice turned cold and filled with killing intent as he said, No, we didn't understand young master's good intentions just now." Han Tumming kept apologizing. "It's mainly because young master, senior, is willing to let us go. My Han family is willing to give you a huge gift to express our apology." "What? You think we're here to blackmail you?" Yi Chen-feng sneered and said, "Just based on your little Han family, what can you possibly get into my eyes?" No, that's not what we meant." Although the terrifying aura that intimidated them had disappeared, the patriarch of the Han family and the others were still terrified. They were afraid that Yi Chen-feng would be displeased and have the expert behind him destroy the Han family. "Forget it. I came out to play this time. I don't want to start a massacre." Yi Chen-feng sighed softly and said, "However, that useless son of yours is truly detestable. If I don't punish your Han family won't remember this lesson. How about this? Give me 10 million mid-grade heaven crystals, and I'll let this matter go." Yi Chen-feng sighed softly and said dully, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and give the young master the heaven crystals." Although the loss of 10 million medial-grade heavenly crystals was enough to cause the Han clan to suffer a great loss, he was truly frightened by that horrifying aura earlier. As long as he could beat Yi Chen-feng away and resolve the Han clan's trouble, he was willing to pay any price. Soon, a Han family expert held a universe ring and respectfully handed it to Yi Chen-feng with both hands. "Remember this lesson. There are many people that your Han family can't afford to offend." Yi Chen-feng accepted the universe ring and slowly said, "Uncle Bai, let's end this matter here. Let's go." After saying that, Yi Chen-feng pulled the stunned Xiao Wendy and left the Han family estate under the respectful escort of the Han family members, disappearing into the night. Chapter 1555. Chen-feng, how did you release that terrifying aura just now? Even after leaving the Han family, Xiao Wendy still felt as if she was in a dream. She never thought that Yi Chen-feng would be able to extort 10 million mid-grade heavenly crystals with just his mouth. She was even more shocked at the origin of that aura just now. Secret, Yi Chen-feng faintly smiled at Xiao Wendy and pretended to be mysterious. He didn't tell her about the existence of the Shining Dragon, causing her to be so angry that she stomped her feet. The two of them left the Han family and didn't rent an inn. Instead, they turned to a remote area and hid in the universe realm to rest. Early in the morning, rays of gentle sunlight sprinkled over Scarlet Thunder City, awakening this city with a long history. At dawn, Yi Chen-feng and Xia Wendy left the universe realm and flew towards the wormhole. After paying 600,000 mid-grade heavenly crystals, they entered the mysterious wormhole. How can the power of space in this wormhole be so stable? After entering the wormhole, Yi Chen-feng's deep eyes revealed a strange light. He saw specks of stars. The wormhole was like a tunnel in the starry sky, filled with a powerful power of space. And this power of space was extremely stable, without the slightest fluctuation of space. Yi Chen-feng and Xia Wendy mixed in with the crowd and waited for a while. Then, a snake-like ship appeared. The two of them followed the crowd and entered the ship. Because Xiao Wendy was too beautiful, when she entered the ship, her breathtaking appearance and graceful figure attracted the gazes of many males, causing her to be extremely angry. "Let's go. We'll rest in the cabin." Yi Chen-feng lightly patted Xia Wendy's soft hand and brought her to their own cabin to rest. "Chen-feng, you rest. I'm not too tired." Seeing that there was only one bed in the cabin and that the space wasn't large, Xiao Wendy's restricted face suddenly flushed red as she pouted. "Mosquito, you also have times when you're shy?" Seeing Xiao Wendy's somewhat unnatural expression, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile as he teased. You! Xiao Wendai glared at him, grinding her silver teeth as she glared at him. All right, I'm going to the universe realm to continue repairing the three-sided ancient flag. You should go to bed and rest. Don't worry, I won't peek at you. Yi Chunfeng gently scratched her white nose with his finger and entered the Qinkuan realm. He continued to control the furnace of the Demon Emperor to repair the three broken ancient flags. While Yi Chunfeng was trying his best to repair the three ancient flags, the Chaos Divine Tree absorbed the Saint Spirit soil and began a new transformation. The power of the tree continued to increase, and the power of the Chaos Divine Tree gradually surpassed that of a low-grade True Spirit Saint artifact. Very quickly, 3 days passed. Under the refinement of the sky-burning sacred flame and the Demon Emperor furnace, the 18 precious refining materials were completely melted and the impurities were removed. They turned into pure spirit liquids and melted into the three broken ancient flags. Basically, the three severely damaged ancient flags were repaired. Middle grade, True Spirit Saint Artifact Ancient Array Flags. Looking at the three ancient array flags that he had repaired, Yi Chunfeng revealed a satisfied smile. The grade of these three ancient array flags had greatly exceeded his expectations. With these three ancient array flags as the core and the ancient sky shrouding diagram as the support, he felt that he could set up a great array that could trap a Tao Emperor expert to death. After 3 days of transformation, the Chaos Divine Tree's power had completely reached the standard of a mid-grade True Spirit Saint artifact. It had become his other trump card. After repairing the three ancient array flags, Yi Chunfeng took out the spoils of war that he had obtained from killing Heavenly Emperor Xiaofeng and Heavenly Emperor Qingwan. There were many mid-grade heaven crystals in their Qinkuan rings and hundreds of high-grade heaven crystals. Sigh, I was really muddle-headed. I actually forgot about their universe rings. However, this is good as well. Not only did I get 4 great treasures, I even managed to extort 10 million medial grade heavenly crystals. Yi Chunfeng smiled and moved the two's belongings into the universe realm. Mid-grade True Spirit Saint Skill Secret Art of Ether. When they were moving the spoils of war, Yi Chunfeng found an incomparably precious healing divine item in the heaven and earth ring of the Howling Wind Celestial Emperor, which was taken away by Torch Dragon. Then he accidentally found a Jade Slip, and in the Jade Slip was the Azure Sky clan's inheritance True Spirit Saint Skill, Secret of the Azure Sky. There were 2 great heavenly clans in the Sky Domain. The Green Sky Clan and Sky Clan were able to stand tall in the Sky Domain for countless years because of their immortal inheritance. If he could comprehend the secret art of ether, it would definitely increase his foundation and combat strength greatly. Green Sky Clan, you've really given me a great gift. After transferring the spoils of war, Yi Chunfeng calmed down and controlled the God-Eater brain to memorize the secret art of ether. Secret Art of Ether was a mid-grade True Spirit Saint skill. There were 3 mid-grade True Spirit Saint skills, namely Secret Art of Ether, Sword of Ether, and Tao of Boundless. Among them, the power of Tao of Boundless surpassed the mid-grade True Spirit Saint skill and was comparable to a high-grade True Spirit Saint skill. Green Sky Clan, I will gladly accept your great gift. Just when Yi Chunfeng was controlling the God-Eater brain to comprehend the secret art of ether, he heard Xiao Wendy's call. After flying for nearly 5 days in the wormhole, the long wheel arrived at the Void Zone where the Misty Heaven sect was located. Xiao Wendy, summon your sword puppet. Yi Chunfeng left the Qinkuan realm and came to Xiao Wendy's side and said softly. The 2 of them summoned their sword spirit puppets, and Yi Chunfeng immediately took out all of his high-grade heaven crystals. He infused several hundred high-grade heaven crystals into the 2 sword spirit puppets that the spirit race had refined. Each sword puppet had merged with more than 200 upper-grade heaven crystals. Its strength increased steadily until it reached the peak of the 6-star Tao Master level. Together with their indestructible defense, it was enough to be a powerful helper for Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Wendy. Qingfeng, where did you get so many upper-grade heaven crystals? Xiao Wendy widened her eyes and asked in surprise. It's a secret. Yi Qingfeng smiled and changed the topic. Come, I have a gift for you. With that, Yi Qingfeng gave the extremely precious secret art of ether to Xiao Wendy. This is the medium-grade, true spirit saint spell. Xiao Wendy penetrated her soul power into the jade slip. Her beautiful face was full of shock. She knew how precious the medium-grade, true spirit saint spell was. She did not expect Yi Qingfeng to give it to her without reservation. She was very touched. Well, take it. Remember to return it to me after you comprehend the secret art of ether. I want to sell it for money. Yi Qingfeng looked at Xiao Wendy, who could not hide her excitement, and said with a smile, Money grubber. Xiao Wendy glanced at Yi Qingfeng charmingly and took the secret art of ether. She took the initiative to hold his arm and left the cabin intimately. After the long ship stopped, they walked down the long ship and came to the nihility zone. Well, the moment Yi Qingfeng walked down the long ship, he frowned slightly and a cold light flashed in his eyes. However, he did not stop. He left the wormhole and spent a lot of lower-grade heaven crystals in the city to buy a topographic map of the nihility zone. Then he rode 2 dragon horses of the holy beast level and rushed toward the misty heaven city. If you want to see the picture of misty snow tomorrow, please add my WeChat public number, YEY83. Chapter 1556. Matsi, let's go to the foot of the mountain to rest. Yi Qingfeng concealed the coldness in his eyes. He rode the dragon horse and brought Xiao Wendy to the foot of a lush mountain to rest. 8th Chinese? Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to equals. Less than or equal to, Qingfeng, did you feel it? A powerful aura just swept past them. The fairy-like Xiao Wendy was sitting on a smooth boulder to regulate her breathing. She frowned slightly as she looked at Yi Qingfeng and asked, I felt it. Yi Qingfeng nodded and said, Prepare for battle. These people are really annoying. Xiao Wendy did not like killing, but she would not be soft-hearted against her enemies. The heaven region is more complicated than we imagined. The law of the jungle is more thorough. We revealed too little strength, and you are so beautiful. Naturally, we will attract some unexpected calamities. Yi Qingfeng smiled and said. Hearing Yi Qingfeng praise her, Xiao Wendy was happy. Silence. She waited for trouble to come. Soon, 5 powerful auras appeared and locked onto Yi Qingfeng and Xiao Wendy. Following that, 5 people wearing black robes and silver masks appeared. They were deliberately hiding their identities. What? You finally can't help but make a move. Yi Qingfeng sat cross-legged on the boulder. Silence looked at the 5 black-clothed men and lightly said, Oh, you discovered us long ago? A tall and sturdy 2 meters tall man with explosive muscles exuding a terrifying pressure said with a hoarse voice. Sigh, with your little tricks, you want to track someone without anyone noticing? Aren't you a little too naive? Yi Qingfeng laughed and said mockingly, I underestimated your methods. The muscular man said with a hoarse voice, but this still doesn't change anything. Big brother, don't waste words with him. Kill this brat and capture that woman. Let's have some fun. The shortest man of the 5 looked at the fairy-like Xiao Wendy with a burning gaze and said lecherously, If you use that kind of expression to look at me again, I'll dig out your dog eyes. Xiao Wendy loathed this kind of expression and coldly warned, Yo, I didn't expect this girl to be so fierce. This is even more interesting. The short man said in a strange tone. Swish. Just as the short man finished speaking, Xiao Wendy moved. She turned into a ray of light in midair and suddenly attacked the short man. Yes, 4-star Dao Masters. You've been hiding your true strength. Sensing Xiao Wendy's sudden burst of strength, the black-clothed man and the other 4 revealed looks of surprise. At this moment, the ancient formation flags that had been repaired by Yi Qingfeng floated above his body. They swayed in midair and formed a large number of formation runes, restricting the entire space and sealing off their escape route. True Spirit Fighting Dragon Fist. Xiao Wendy appeared in front of the short man at an extremely fast speed. 3 profound, Tao diagrams appeared on her body. She deduced the Tao intent to the extreme and used the strongest move she currently knew to bombard the short man. A fist blasted out, and a slight fluctuation appeared in the space. A fist light that was strong enough to kill a giant dragon ruthlessly bombarded the short man, crushing his attack like breaking rotten wood and smashing into his body. Kacha! A series of shattering sounds rang out from the short man's body. His strength was similar to Xiao Wendy's, and he was a 4-star Tao master, but he was sent flying by the true spirit fighting Dragon Fist. He turned into a cloud of blood in midair and died on the spot. Gu, seeing the scene of Xiao Wendy killing the short man with a single punch, the 4 black-clothed men couldn't help but gulp. They knew that they had kicked an iron plate and hurriedly shouted, "Wait, this is all a misunderstanding. Your Excellency, can you let us go? Bandits should have the consciousness of bandits. Since you've embarked on this path, you should know that this is a road without end." Yi Qinfeng said indifferently, "Now, I'll give you a chance to attack. All of you can come together." No, we're willing to exchange a great secret for our lives." Xiao Wendy's combat strength was already beyond their imagination. Looking at the calm Yi Qinfeng, they felt that Yi Qinfeng's strength was probably even more terrifying than Xiao Wendy's. They had to throw out a great temptation. Not interested. With that, Yi Qinfeng turned into a shocking sword shadow, appeared in front of the burly men, and attacked them. "Your Excellency, you really want to fight us to the death. If you push us too far, we'll die together with you." Taking Yi Qinfeng's fist head-on, the burly man who walked the path of body refinement felt his entire arm go numb. The frightening power almost broke his arm. He shouted in fear, "Brother Yi, don't worry. Die together? You think you can do that?" Yi Qinfeng revealed a trace of disdain. He didn't use the power of Tao intent. Instead, he used his physical body to attack them, suppressing their attacks. The power of his 5 acupoints exploded. More than 1 billion pounds of power poured into his right fist, and he punched at a black-clothed man. "No!" A shrill scream rang out. The man who was hit by Yi Qinfeng's punch was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's punch. From his arm to his body, he exploded. "Die for me!" A black-clothed man seized the opportunity when Yi Qinfeng exploded his companion. He wielded a low-grade Saint Sword and dealt a fatal blow to Yi Qinfeng. When the low-grade Saint Sword stabbed into Yi Qinfeng's body, it felt like it was stabbing into solid black iron. This shocked him, and he wanted to change his move. But Yi Qinfeng's attack speed was too fast. The terrifying fist light brought with it an unparalleled pressure, and it fiercely bombarded his body, directly blowing him up. Damn, is this guy from the race? Why is his strength so terrifying? Seeing Yi Qinfeng's astonishing physical strength, the burly man and his companion were scared out of their wits. They both summoned a mid-grade Saint Treasure and attacked him. As the 2 mid-grade Saint Treasures attacked, Yi Qinfeng immediately pressed his hand down. The Xin Life and Death Tao diagram appeared in his palm and fiercely landed on the 2 mid-grade Saint Treasures. The terrifying Tao intent and power directly crushed the 2 Saint Treasures. Then, the soul force in Yi Qinfeng's mind exploded. Like 2 terrifying heavy hammers, it fiercely bombarded the 2 men's soul seas, causing their souls to tremble and their minds to go blank for a short time. God-Eater Brain, Soul Search. After knocking the 2 unconscious, Yi Qinfeng immediately used the power of the God-Eater Brain to search their souls and obtain their soul memories. Just as I guessed, they don't know any big secrets. After searching through the 2 soul memories, Yi Qinfeng didn't find any valuable information other than the fact that they had been killing and robbing people all these years. He directly crushed their heads and ended their lives. "Let's go. Let's continue on our way." Yi Qinfeng took away the 5 people's belongings and said, "After dealing with these flies, there shouldn't be any trouble." With that, Yi Qinfeng released the sky-burning sacred fire and melted the 5 corpses. After destroying the corpses and destroying the evidence, he put away the 3 ancient formation flags, rode on the dragon horse, and continued to rush towards the misty heaven sect with Xiao Wendy. Chapter 1557. The Misty Heaven sect was located in the depths of the misty, immortal mountain. It was one of the ancient human sects in the heaven realm. By Chinese, less than or equal to equals. Less than or equal to the Misty Heaven sect used to be the absolute leader of the human race in the heaven realm. They had produced countless outstanding cultivators. In the history of the heaven realm, the Misty Heaven sect had participated in many fierce battles against the alien races. However, with the passage of time, the Misty Heaven sect was unable to recover from the repeated battles and gradually declined. We're here. We've finally arrived at the Misty Heaven sect. Yi Chen-feng looked at a mountain in the distance that was shrouded in a sea of clouds. Occasionally, there would be spirit beasts flying in the sky. With a faint smile on his face, he and Xia Wendy flew toward the Misty Heaven sect. Stop. This is the territory of the Misty Heaven sect. Outsiders are not allowed to enter. When Yi Chen-feng and Xia Wendy arrived at the majestic mountain gate that was constructed from two complete pieces of celestial crystal, two Peak Six-Star Tao, Saint Misty Mountain disciples wearing Taoist robes immediately stopped them and loudly reprimanded them. The two of you, we are here to look for Senior Shui Piao. Yi Chen-feng jumped off the dragon horse and said politely, Pavilion Master Shui. The two Misty Mountain disciples sized up Yi Chen-feng's group. When they saw Xiao Wendy, their eyes couldn't help but light up. Do you have Pavilion Master Snow's keepsake? I have a letter here. Can the two of you help me pass it to Pavilion Master Shui? I believe that Pavilion Master Shui will meet us after reading the letter. Yi Chen-feng took out a letter and said, You told us to send a message, so we sent a message to you. Who do you think you are? The two Misty Mountain disciples said somewhat arrogantly, Senior brothers, we really are old friends with Pavilion Master Shui. Please help us pass on a message. Xiao Wendy suddenly revealed an enchanting smile. She stuffed the two universe rings into the Misty Mountain disciples' hands. Her charming appearance immediately caused the two's eyes to widen. All right, for the sake of this junior sister, I'll take the trouble to pass on a message for you. However, I'm not sure if Pavilion Master Shui will meet you. The two of them controlled their souls and sent them into the universe ring. They found that there were 10,000 mid-grade heaven crystals in it. Furthermore, Xiao and Dai was too beautiful, which made them feel a little smug. In the end, a disciple of the Misty Heaven sect led Yi Chen-feng and Li Wuyo through the restrictions of the mountain gate and into the misty, immortal mountain. So beautiful, this misty, immortal mountain is truly beautiful. After entering the misty, immortal mountain, Yi Chen-feng and Xia Wendy immediately felt a wave of dense, heavenly spirit qi rush towards them. From afar, the misty, immortal mountain was like a small world with countless spirit beasts flying in the sky. Among these spirit beasts, Yi Chen-feng saw several blue luan and red luan that were regarded as divine birds in the soul-fighting continent. There was even a divine bird with a long tail that looked like a phoenix flying in front of them, which shocked them. Our misty, immortal mountain is the most famous immortal mountain in the Nihility Zone. There are countless beautiful sceneries in the mountain. The Cloud Dragon waterfall on the left is even more famous in the Nihility Zone. There was once a rumor that a true dragon was born in the quiet pool under the Cloud Dragon waterfall. The misty, immortal mountain disciple pointed at a waterfall in the distance that was embedded in a crack. The waterfall was more than 1,000 feet high, passing through layers of clouds and falling down. He introduced it proudly. The sceneries in the Nihility Zone are indeed incomparable to those in the lower realm. It's too vast. Yi Chen-feng was also deeply awed by the beautiful sceneries in the misty, immortal mountain. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Yi Chen-feng and Xia Wendy followed the misty, immortal mountain disciple and climbed up thousands of stairs on the winding mountain path. After passing through a thin layer of restrictions, their eyes suddenly opened up and a new scenery appeared in front of them. The misty, immortal mountain disciple looked at Xia Wendy with a burning gaze and said, This is the inner city of my misty, immortal mountain sect. You're not my misty, immortal mountain disciple and can only move around here. If Pavilion Master Shui doesn't summon you in 3 days, I will send you away. Xiao Wendy revealed a charming smile and said in a soft voice, "Then I'll leave everything to Senior Brother. As long as Pavilion Master Shui sees our letter, she will definitely come see us. At that time, we will also put in a few good words for Senior Brother to Pavilion Master Shui." Her charming appearance and charming voice made the misty, immortal mountain disciple feel like he was floating in the air. AI, sometimes the beauty trap does have some use. Looking at the misty, immortal mountain disciple who was infatuated with Xiao Wendy, Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said with a bitter smile, "Of course, this lady's charm is great." Xiao Wendy's mouth slightly curled up as she said with a proud face, "Let's go. We will find a place to stay and wait for Senior Shui." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Wendy walked towards the beautiful inner city built on the Immortal Mountain. Although misty, Immortal Mountain didn't lack beauties, Xiao Wendy's appearance still caused quite a bit of commotion. Many disciples who came to the inner city to buy and sell cultivation resources noticed her. AI, the phrase femme fatale is not wrong at all. Feeling the envious and hateful gazes from all around him, Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said in a somewhat speechless manner. As they walked, Yi Chunfeng saw a 3-story tall treasure house in front of them. It was built in an ancient style, and he immediately revealed a trace of interest. He walked over with Xiao Wendy, wanting to see what was different about the treasure house of misty, Immortal Mountain compared to the outside world. "You too, you aren't disciples of my misty, Immortal Mountain sect, right?" When Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Wendy walked into the treasure house, a green-clothed man immediately walked over. Seeing their clothes, he asked in a low voice, "We are friends of Pavilion Master Shui. We were waiting for her here. When we were chatting, we would stroll around." Yi Chunfeng indifferently said, "So you are friends of Pavilion Master Shui?" The green-clothed man's unhappiness disappeared without a trace. He revealed a faint smile and said, "You too. May I know what you want to buy? We are just strolling around." After saying that, Yi Chunfeng pulled Xiao Wendy into the treasure house and strolled around. In Rhino Bracelet, Yi Chunfeng suddenly found a pair of rhino bracelets in the treasure house and felt a trace of interest. Rhino Bracelet. It didn't have any offensive or defensive power, but it could allow 2 people to sense each other. As long as 2 rhino bracelets were in the same area, they could sense each other's location. How much are these rhino bracelets? Thinking that the heaven region was full of dangers, these rhino bracelets were more practical for him and Xiao Wendy. Yi Chunfeng decided to buy this pair of rhino bracelets in case of emergency. A white-haired old man glanced at Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Wendy and said slowly, "This pair of rhino bracelets is sold for 100,000 middle-grade heaven crystals." "Okay, I'll buy it." After extorting 10 million middle-grade heaven crystals from the Han clan, in addition to the heaven crystals obtained from killing, Yi Chunfeng had more than 12 million middle-grade heaven crystals. He could easily buy this pair of rhino bracelets. "I also like these rhino bracelets. I'll buy them." Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to pay 100,000 middle-grade heaven crystals to buy this pair of rhino bracelets, a domineering voice suddenly sounded. The next moment, a 1-star Dao master in a gorgeous robe with a feathered crown on his head slowly walked over. Under Xiao Wendy's angry gaze, he grabbed the pair of rhino bracelets. Chapter 1558. "Hey, we took a fancy to this rhino bracelet. What right do you have to snatch it from us?" Xiao Wendy glared at the man in luxurious robes who snatched the rhino bracelet away. Her face was filled with anger as she spoke. "Webb, because I'm an inner disciple of the Misty Heaven sect," the man in luxurious robes said arrogantly. "But if you really like this rhino bracelet, I can give you one. Here are 100,000 mid-grade heaven crystals. I'll buy the rhino bracelet." Yi Chunfeng understood the man's intention through his eyes. He took out 100,000 mid-grade heaven crystals and held them in front of him as he spoke indifferently. The white-haired old man did not take the 100,000 mid-grade heaven crystals from Yi Chunfeng and said slowly, "I'm sorry. Although you took a fancy to the rhino bracelet first, according to the rules of the Misty Heaven sect, inner disciples have the priority to buy it. Then if he gives it to me, does that mean I can buy it?" Yi Chen-feng put away the 100,000 mid-grade heaven crystals and said indifferently, Xing, have you lost your mind? Why should I give it to you? The man in luxurious robes sneered and mocked. Look at this. Yi Chen-feng took out a dark golden token from his Qian Kun ring and asked. When he attracted the man's gaze, his eyes, which were as deep as the sea, shot out an illusory Qian level Dao diagram. Streams of illusory power pierced through the man's eyes and instantly took control of his mind and consciousness. In the next moment, the man in luxurious robes suddenly knelt on the ground under everyone's shocked gaze. He kowtowed 3 times to Yi Chen-feng and said, I didn't know Uncle's identity and have offended you. Please don't take offense. Uncle. Hearing how the man in luxurious robes addressed Yi Chen-feng, everyone present was dumbfounded. There was an uproar as they all looked at the token in Yi Chen-feng's hand. However, Yi Chen-feng only flashed the token once and kept it in his Qian Kun mirror. None of the Misty Heaven sect disciples present saw the token. Now, are you still going to snatch the rhino bracelet that I have my eyes on? Yi Chen-feng said with his hands behind his back, as if he was lecturing a junior. I wouldn't dare. I know I was wrong. The man in the luxurious robe said in fear, I will now buy this rhino bracelet for uncle and aunt. As he spoke, the man in luxurious robes got up from the ground and took out 100,000 mid-grade heaven crystals to buy the rhino bracelet. He then handed it to Yi Chen-feng with both hands. Let's go. I have something to tell you. Yi Chen-feng ordered coldly. He wanted to take the man to a secluded corner and use the God-Eater brain to erase part of his memories to solve this problem. Wait. Suddenly, a deep voice sounded. A middle-aged man in a dark golden robe with cloud patterns walked out of the back hall. He was a 6-star Dao master, and his hair was slightly white. He glanced at the bowing man and said, Are you really Zhou Yun's uncle? What else could it be? Yi Chen-feng asked with a calm expression. Yes, illusion Dao insight. When the middle-aged man secretly sized up the man in luxurious robes, he suddenly noticed something. His face darkened instantly, and he said, How dare you use the illusion Dao insight to control Zhou Yun's brain and consciousness and wait for an opportunity to humiliate him? Do you know you're guilty? I don't know what you're talking about. Yi Chen-feng did not expect that his trick would be exposed. However, he did not show a trace of panic on his face. He gently took Xiao Wendy's hand and said, Let's go. Let's go somewhere else. What? You want to leave after being exposed? Aren't you provoking the Misty Heaven sect too much? The middle-aged man's face darkened. A terrifying aura burst out from his body like a crashing volcano, oppressing Yi Chen-feng. Word! Just when Yi Chen-feng was hesitating whether to resist or not, a clear voice came from afar and directly shattered the middle-aged man's aura. The next moment, everyone felt a blur in front of their eyes. A beautiful woman in a light blue dress with no makeup appeared in the treasure house, shocking everyone who was hesitating. Pavilion Master Shui. Looking at the elegant woman in front of them with a faint halo around her tall body, she looked like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. Many people recognized her identity and stepped forward to greet her. Pavilion Master Shui, I am Yi Chen-feng, and I come from the same place as you. Looking at Shui Piao-miao, who was as beautiful as Xiao Wendy but had a colder temperament, Yi Chen-feng lowered his voice and transmitted it into Shui Piao-miao's ears. I know. Let's go. Shui Piao-miao nodded without any expression on her cold face. She was about to leave with Yi Chen-feng and Xiao Wendy. Pavilion Master Shui, Zhou Yun is an inner disciple of the Sunset, Snow, Immortal Pavilion. He humiliated Zhou Yun like this. Shouldn't he give the Sunset, Snow, Immortal Pavilion an explanation? A cold voice came from the wooden stairs. A man in a snow-white robe, with skin as fair as a woman's and a clear scar at the corner of his eye, slowly walked down and said, If your pavilion master wants an explanation, then come to the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. I will give him an explanation. Shui Piao-miao said domineeringly, but you are not worthy. You, the man in white, didn't expect Shui Piao-miao to be so sharp and not give him any face. His face instantly darkened. Guardian Shui, those two bullies have gone too far. They humiliated this disciple in front of everyone. Guardian Shui, please give me justice. Zhou Yun, who had regained consciousness, came to the side of the man in white and rebuked Yi Chunfeng loudly. If you say one more word of nonsense, don't blame me for bringing Shui Mingxian to teach you a lesson. Shui Piaomiao's eyes revealed a trace of sternness as she coldly looked at Zhou Yun and warned. What made junior sister Piaomiao so angry? Shui Piaomiao used her powerful aura to intimidate everyone. Suddenly, a blurry figure appeared without warning. Greetings, Pavilion Master Shui. Seeing the person who had suddenly appeared, Zhou Yun and the man in white were overjoyed. They all went forward and bowed. Shui Mingxian, one of the 4 pavilion masters of the Snow Palace. Although he and Shui Piaomiao were both pavilion masters, in terms of strength and foundation, he was far superior to Shui Piaomiao. Furthermore, the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion that he was in charge of had always been considered the #1 pavilion. Just a small conflict, Shui Piaomiao said indifferently. Since junior sister Piaomiao doesn't want to say it, then you should say it, Shui Mingxian said with a faint smile. Shui Mingxian seemed to have an extraordinary temperament and was amiable. However, those who knew him well knew that he was definitely an extremely poisonous snake. As long as he was given the chance, he would definitely give a fatal blow. It's the pavilion master. Zhou Yun's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. He added oil to the fire as he narrated the matter. Junior sister Piaomiao, who are those two? Shui Mingxian cast his gaze towards Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Wendy. Although he had seen countless women, when he carefully sized up Xiao Wendy, he still had a kind of stunned feeling and showed a trace of interest in her. They're the disciples that I am preparing to accept under my sect, Shui Piaomiao said indifferently. Junior sister Piaomiao, this is where you are wrong. My Misty Heaven sect has strict rules for accepting disciples. Not just any cat or dog has the qualifications to become my Misty Heaven sect's disciple. Shui Mingxian said, Junior sister Piaomiao, you wouldn't use your status to break the sect's rules, right? Don't worry about this. I will take them to the examination. Moreover, I am confident that they will pass the examination. Shui Piaomiao coldly replied. Shui Mingxian looked at Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy, who had suppressed their strength to 4-star Dao Saint, and said with a light smile, I have nothing to do. Why don't you let me accompany you? Let me see what is so special about Junior Sister's eyes, and why you insist on accepting these 2 pieces of trash under your sect. All right, G, let's go together. Yi Chunfeng didn't get angry and revealed a faint smile as he agreed. Shui Mingxian slightly frowned and then revealed a smile. However, there was a trace of viciousness in his eyes that disappeared in a flash. P.S. Today's picture of Shui Piaomiao. If you want to know what Shui Piaomiao looks like, add her on WeChat. Y1TY83. Remember the website. Sandwich Chinese Network. Chapter 1559. AI, you guys are a little reckless. The Misty Heaven sex test is not easy. Now, that Shui Mingxian is here, with his personality, he might make things difficult for you and make it impossible for you to pass. Shui Piaomiao sighed softly as they headed towards the test grounds. She lowered her voice into a thin line and transmitted it into Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy's ears. Don't worry, Senior Shui. We won't embarrass you. Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly, brimming with confidence. I hope so. Sensing Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy's strength, Shui Piaomiao felt that the chances of them passing the test were not high. All right, the trial hall is just ahead. You guys wait for me here. I'll go talk to the trial hall elder and ask him to make an exception to open the trial hall. The group passed through the sea of clouds and arrived outside a majestic stone hall. When they arrived outside, Shui Mingxian instructed and flew into the stone hall. After offending the first pavilion master, you guys still want to stay in a Misty Heaven sect? Too naive. Zhou Yun, who came to watch the show, snorted coldly and gloated in his heart. After a while, the tightly shut stone door slowly opened. An old man in a white robe with a face full of wrinkles appeared. He glanced at the group and said, Who is here to take the test? Us. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy said in unison. Good, come in. The white-robed old man's eyes swept over Yi Chenfeng and Xia Wendy as he said in a low voice, "AI, you guys better be careful. Don't be careless." Shui Piaomiao sighed softly. Based on her understanding of Shui Mingxian, it was not easy for him to enter the trial hall early. He would definitely find a way to make things difficult for Yi Chenfeng and Xia Wendy, making it impossible for them to pass. "Don't worry, Senior Shui. We will be careful," Yi Chenfeng said with a light smile. There was not a trace of nervousness on his face. A newborn calf. Although Yi Chenfeng and Xia Wendy were able to ascend to the heaven region, they were definitely geniuses amongst geniuses in their world. However, the heaven region was different from other powers. The starting point here was too high. The geniuses that were born here were as numerous as carps crossing the river. She was still worried for Yi Chenfeng and Xia Wendy. "If you want to become a disciple of my Misty Heaven sect, then you must pass 3 tests. They are respectively the test of strength, the test of reaction, and the test of Tao insight. I heard from Ming Xian that all of you want to directly become disciples of the Misty Heaven sect, so the difficulty of your tests will be higher than ordinary people. All of you better be mentally prepared," the white-robed old man said without a trace of emotion. "Elder Su, I just want to take them in as ordinary disciples of my Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion. There's no need to raise the difficulty." Shui Piaomiao knew that there were many difficulties in the trial hall. If it was the final difficulty, it was impossible to pass without the strength of a Tao master. "Junior Sister Piaomiao, you're wrong. If the two of them don't even have the courage to challenge a higher level of difficulty, how can they join our Misty Heaven sect? Although our Misty Heaven sect is powerful, we won't raise useless people." Shui Mingxian said. "Well, it's settled then. Which one of you will take the test first?" The white-haired old man and Shui Mingxian had a good personal relationship, so he didn't give Shui Piaomiao a chance and said in a low voice, "I'll go first." Xia Wendy and Yi Chenfeng communicated with each other through voice transmission, then slowly walked to the front of the white-haired old man and said, "Come, follow me." With that, the white-haired old man brought Xia Wendy to the strength test room of the trial hall and chopped down on a huge, dim crystal stone that looked like a crystal. At this time, Xia Wendy's shadow was reflected in a smooth mirror. Her every move during the test would be reflected in this mirror. "Humph, you've offended the first pavilion master, and you still want to stay in the Misty Heaven sect? You're dreaming." Zouyin snorted in his heart and said, "When I drive you out of the Misty Heaven sect, I'll kill you and let you know the consequences of offending me." Zouyin wasn't the only one who didn't have high hopes for Yi Chenfeng and Xia Wendy. Even Shui Piaomiao and the others didn't have high hopes for them. In their opinion, with Shui Mingxuan's strength and status, it was too easy for him to play Yi Chenfeng and Xia Wendy to death. The strength test is divided into 6 levels. The lowest level is white, followed by yellow, blue, green, purple, and red. Your strength must be able to make this trial stone emit a blue light in order to pass the test. The white-robed old man said coldly, "Remember, you only have one chance. If you fail, you won't be able to take the next test." "Okay." Xia Wendy nodded and began to accumulate strength. After refining the spirit source, Xia Wendy's body had undergone a qualitative change. Although her physical strength was not as strong as Yi Chenfeng's, it was still stronger than ordinary saint beasts. "Huh!" A thunderous roar burst out from her mouth. She took a step forward, and over 200 million gene of strength poured into her white fist as she punched the trial stone. In the next moment, a dark green light was emitted from the crystal. "Green? How is this possible? With his strength as a 4-star Tao saint, how can he have such strength?" Seeing the dark green light reflected from the mirror, everyone present was stunned. Shui Mingxuan's face turned gloomy. He realized that he had provoked Xia Wendy. "Very good. Your strength is not bad. Follow me to the next trial room." The white-robed old man also revealed a surprised expression. He secretly sized up Xia Wendy and brought her to the trial room that tested her reaction speed. "The next test is your reaction speed. In other words, you have to think of a way to prevent the flying arrows from hitting your body in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. If you're hit by more than 3 flying arrows in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, you will fail. The white-robed old man simply told Xia Wendy the rules of the test and left the trial room. He also intentionally increased the difficulty of the reaction speed test. Swish, 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 swish. Arrows as long as a finger flew out from every corner of the trial room, attacking Xiao Wendy's body at an extremely fast speed. Although Xiao Wendy had suppressed her strength, her consciousness and reaction speed were at the level of a 4-star Dao Master. In addition, Yi Qinfeng had taught her the sword steps. Using the sword steps that could instantly increase her speed, Xiao Wendai moved around in the training room, easily dodging the attacks of the flying arrows one after another. Looking at Xiao Wendy's relaxed posture, the white-robed old man frowned slightly. He had increased the difficulty of the test again, but it still did not affect Xiao Wendy. Slowly, the time it took for an incense stick to burn passed. Xiao Wendy was not hit by a single arrow and easily passed the reaction speed test. What amazing insight and reaction speed. Shui Piaomiao's eyes lit up. She did not expect Xiao Wendy to be so outstanding. She immediately became greedy. The expressions of Shui Mingxian and the others became even more gloomy, especially Shui Mingxian. He was even more furious in his heart. If he was still driven out of the Misty Heaven sect by Wu Fan and Yi Qinfeng, he would surely lose all face. Very good. So long as you pass the final Dao Insight test, you'll be a disciple of the Misty Heaven sect. The white-haired old man revealed a surprised expression. He repeatedly sized Xia Wendy up, but did not see anything wrong with her. He brought her to the final trial room and arrived before a smooth mirror. Press your hand on the trial mirror. If you can persist for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn and not suffer a backlash from the trial mirror, you'll pass. The white-haired old man said. An ordinary person only had to persist for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn a pass, but the white-haired old man had forcefully increased the difficulty by 2 times. Xiao Wendy nodded. She walked up to the trial mirror and placed her hand on the glossy surface. In the next moment, the trial mirror projected a large amount of Dao Insight light that instantly swallowed Xiao Wendy. The trial mirror contained terrifying Dao Insight, but Xiao Wendy had comprehended the quintessence Dao Steel and had comprehended the Dao Insight to the profound Gray Dao diagram realm. So the Dao Insight in the trial mirror was unable to affect her in the slightest. The Dao Insight that surged in her body was easily resolved by her, and in the process of resolving it, she also deepened her comprehension of Dao Insight. In next to no time, the time for an incense stick to burn passed. Xiao Wendy, who was enveloped in the light of Dao Insight, was awakened by the white-haired old man. It's over just like that, Xiao Wendy said as she wished to continue, causing the white-robed old man to be rather speechless. Remember the website, Sandwich Chinese Network. Chapter 1560. 1 second, little Shua section net. Org. Wonderful, no pop-up window, free reading. Shui Mingxian. Can I take her as my disciple? A charming smile appeared on Shui Piaomiao's cold face. She didn't expect that Xia Wendy would give her such a big surprise. She could wait for an opportunity to defeat Shui Mingxian. This girl is really good. Shui Mingxian showed a thought-provoking smile. He looked at the trial test hall and saw Xia Wendy and the white-robed old man slowly walking over. Girl, I wonder if you're interested in joining the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion. If you are willing, I can make an exception and take you as my disciple. I will give you unimaginable cultivation resources and help you break through to the Dao Master realm in the shortest time. Shui Mingxian suddenly threw an olive branch to Xiao Wendy. Well, Shui Mingxian, you want to compete with me for a disciple? Shui Piaomiao said with a pale face. The Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion is the top pavilion in the Snow Palace. I think you know the benefits of joining us. Shui Mingxian said with a smile. If you're willing to join us, I will give you a low-grade True Spirit Saint weapon. Shui Piaomiao knew how tempting a low-grade true spirit saint weapon was. Even as the pavilion master, she only had 2 low-grade true spirit saint weapons. Thank you for your kindness, but I will only join the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. Xiao Wendy shook her head and refused without hesitation. Girl, don't you want to think about it? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Others can't get it even if they beg for it. Xuan's face turned cold instantly. He didn't expect that Xiao Wendy would heartlessly refuse such a great temptation. No, Xiao Wendy shook her head and said, well, I hope you won't regret it. Xuan's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. He turned around and left. When he turned around, he secretly transmitted a message to the white-robed old man, asking him to raise the difficulty of the trial test to the highest level. He couldn't let Yi Chunfeng pass the test no matter what. Now it's my turn. Yi Chunfeng warmed up his body and said with a calm expression, come with me. The white-robed old man and Xuan Mingxian quickly exchanged a look and led Yi Chunfeng to the trial room. Be careful. Shui Piaomiao looked at Yi Chunfeng's tall and straight back and warned him with a voice transmission. She was slightly worried. Do you see the trial stone in front of you? You have to make it emit a red light to pass. The white-robed old man didn't introduce the stone to Yi Chunfeng, as he coldly said. All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded. Standing before the trial stone, he took a deep breath and the energy in his 5 acupoints erupted. As he punched out, the air in front of him was directly crushed by the astonishing power. His fist, which was close to 700 million kilograms, fiercely smashed into the trial stone. Ka. In the next moment, cracks spread across the surface of the trial stone. Endless red light shone from the cracks, so bright that it was hard for anyone to open their eyes. F***CK, what did I just see? That guy broke the trial stone with a single punch. Is this guy even human? The toughness of the trial stone is comparable to a mid-grade saint artifact. Could it be that his fist is stronger than a mid-grade saint artifact? Witnessing the scene in front of them through the mirror, everyone present was stunned. They widened their eyes and couldn't believe what they were seeing. So powerful. How can he, an ascender from the lower realm, have such strength? What kind of fortuitous encounter did he have in the lower realm? After seeing the power of Yi Chunfeng's punch, Shui Piaomiao was completely relieved. She finally knew the source of Yi Chunfeng's confidence. Elder, I don't have to pay for breaking this trial stone, right? Yi Chunfeng looked at the white-robed old man whose pupils had shrunk and was dumbfounded. He smiled and said deliberately, no need. The white-robed old man took a deep look at Yi Chunfeng and spat out 2 words fiercely. He brought him to the second trial room to test Yi Chunfeng's reaction. In the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, if you're not hit by the flying arrows, you will pass. As long as you're hit by 1 flying arrow, you will fail. The white-robed old man said coldly. He left the trial room and raised the difficulty of the test to the highest level. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. An ear-piercing sound pierced through the air. In the blink of an eye, thousands of flying arrows were shot at Yi Chunfeng from all directions. They were so dense that they almost sealed off all his dodging space. Damn it, this is the most difficult test. Shui Piaomiao was furious as she glared at Xuan Mingxian. Junior sister Piaomiao, don't look at me like that. I'm just a spectator like you. Elder Su is the examiner, Xuan Mingxian said with a faint smile. In his opinion, with Yi Chunfeng's strength as a 4-star Dao Saint, it was impossible for him to pass the most difficult test. However, the next scene shocked him. Yi Chunfeng used the time rules of order. Using the profound time ultimacy, he flashed rapidly in the narrow space and dodged the flying arrows. Because of the time rules of order, Yi Chunfeng's movement speed was very strange in the eyes of outsiders. His erratic movements were dazzling. Very quickly, the time it took for a stick of incense to burn past. The densely packed, flying arrows did not even touch the corner of his clothes. Yi Chunfeng passed the reaction test very easily. It's over? I haven't even sweated yet. Yi Chunfeng looked at the white-robed old man whose face was as gloomy as water and said deliberately, let's go. I'll bring you to the last trial room. If you can pass the Dao Insight test, you will become a disciple of the Misty Heaven sect. The white-robed old man said coldly. He brought Yi Chunfeng to the Tao Insight trial room and stood under the Tao Insight mirror. Remember, as long as you can withstand for 30 minutes and don't get devoured by the Tao Insight mirror, you'll pass the test. The white-robed old man warned coldly and raised the power of the Tao Insight mirror to the limit. All right, you can start the test. As soon as he finished speaking, the white-robed old man stood closely at the side. Yi Chunfeng pressed down on the Tao Insight mirror with a single hand and instantly felt four extremely formidable spirit-rank Tao diagrams appear within the Tao Insight mirror, and they spilled boundless energy of Tao Insight that assaulted Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng didn't utilize any Tao Insight when facing the attacks of the four great spirit-rank Tao diagrams, and he merely relied on his formidable physical strength to resist. When the Tao Insight that assaulted Yi Chunfeng gushed into his arm, it was instantly minced into pieces by his over 50 million kilograms of strength, and it was utterly incapable of harming Yi Chunfeng in the slightest. Ow! How could this be possible? How could he possibly resist the attacks of the Tao Insight mirror with his strength at the fourth star, Tao Saint realm? Everyone present was shocked once more when they saw Yi Chunfeng withstanding the test of the Tao Insight mirror with a relaxed expression. On the other hand, Shui Piaomiao's cold and beautiful face revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. She suddenly had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy were the best gift given to her by the heavens, and they'd come to help her get out of this situation. Press and hold for 3 seconds to copy. Chapter 1561. 1 second, little say section. Org. It was a wonderful free read. The Tao Intent mirror cracked. Oh my god, who the hell is this guy? He's too crazy. Witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng cracking the Tao Intent mirror, the entire trial hall was filled with gasps. Zhou was unable to accept this fact as he shouted at the top of his lungs. Cheating? He must be cheating. It's impossible for him to be so powerful with his strength. Zhou, if you dare to slander me again, don't blame me for being impolite. Shui Piaomiao warned coldly. Shui Mingxian concealed the sternness in his eyes as he slowly said, Junior Sister Piaomiao, there's definitely something wrong with him. I don't believe that with his strength at the 4-star Tao Saint realm, he has the strength to consecutively crack the trial stone and the Tao Intent mirror. Shui Mingxian, aren't you a little too petty? Shui Piaomiao retorted, You're the one who proposed the trial. Now that my 2 disciples have passed the trial, you suspect that they cheated. Do you think that you can do whatever you want in the Misty Heaven sect? Junior Sister Piaomiao, don't be angry. Shui Mingxian wasn't angry when he met Shui Piaomiao's furious gaze. He said indifferently, As long as he can prove that he didn't cheat, I'll agree to let him become a disciple of the Misty Heaven sect. You. Shui Piaomiao was furious. Senior Shui, don't be angry. Since he wants me to prove it, then I'll prove it to him. At this moment, Yi Chunfeng walked out with a gloomy white-robed old man. Shui Mingxian looked at Yi Chunfeng with a sharp gaze and said coldly, How do you want to prove it? Use strength to prove it. A shocking strength suddenly erupted from Yi Chunfeng's body. Although my cultivation isn't high, I've already cultivated my body to the level of an ordinary saint beast. I wonder if any of you are willing to test my strength? Sensing Yi Chunfeng's gaze drifting towards him, Zhou Yun hurriedly lowered his head. Feeling the pressure emanating from Yi Chunfeng's body, he didn't doubt that he wouldn't be able to withstand a single punch from Yi Chunfeng. It was even more likely that he would be blown apart by a single punch. In this way, you're using pure strength to resist the test of the mirror of Tao Insight, and you aren't using Tao Insight to resist it. Shui Mingxian guided impatiently. Pavilion Master Shui's meaning is that my comprehension of Tao Insight is insufficient, and I'm not qualified to become a disciple of the Misty Heaven sect. Yi Chunfeng was extremely astute, and he saw through the deep meaning in Shui Mingxuan's words. Exactly. Our Misty Heaven sect doesn't need pure body refinement trash. If you use pure strength to pass the test of the mirror of Tao Intent, then it's cheating. Shui Mingxian nodded and spoke sternly. Pavilion Master Snow, what do you think of my comprehension of Tao Insight? As he spoke, the illusory, profound, gray Tao diagram floated above his head. Illusory, profound, gray Tao diagram. When he saw Yi Chuanfeng had actually cultivated the illusory Tao insight to the profound gray Tao diagram realm, Xue Mingxuan's face sank, and his only excuse was mercilessly crushed by Yi Chuanfeng. Pavilion Master Snow, do you still doubt me now? Yi Chuanfeng lightly smiled as he looked at Xue Mingxian, whose eyes twitched violently. You're really not bad. Xue Mingxuan's gloomy and cold gaze looked at Yi Chuanfeng as he fiercely spat out 4 words, and then he left with the disciples of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion in a slightly sorry state. Let's go. We're returning to the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion. Even though Xue Piaomiao was extremely happy in her heart as she looked at Xue Mingxuan's departing figure, her eyes still revealed a trace of worry. She summoned an enormous red-crowned crane that had a wingspan of over 10 meters and rowed it towards the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion in the depths of the Sea of Clouds. All of you gave me a great surprise today and allowed me to hold my head high for once. However, Xue Mingxian is not a simple person. All of you have offended him, so you must be careful of his revenge. Xue Piaomiao solemnly exhorted, especially Wendy. You must be even more careful of him. I feel that the way he looks at you is a bit strange. If there's nothing else, don't leave the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion. Yes, Senior Xue. Wendy's expression slightly tensed as she nodded. Senior Xue, is your relationship with Xue Mingxian very bad? Yi Chuanfeng asked. Sigh. It's all because of ambition. Xue Piaomiao sighed softly and said, The Misty Heaven sect is divided into 4 great palaces, and they are the Wind, Flower, Snow, and Moon palaces. The 4 palaces each have their own factions, and my Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion is one of the 4 great immortal pavilions under the Snow Valley. Originally, my relationship with Xue Mingxian was quite harmonious, but now, our palace master has cultivated to the limit of a 3-star Tao Emperor and needs a long period of closed-door cultivation to break through to become a 4-star Tao Emperor. Once he breaks through, he will be qualified to become an elder of the Misty Heaven sect, so the position of Palace Master will be vacant. And under the temptation of the Palace Master, Xue Mingxuan's ambition has grown to the extreme, and he's been constantly suppressing our 3 palaces. Because Xue Mingxuan's talent is better than ours, and he broke through to become a 2-star Tao Emperor before us. And with his extraordinary means, the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion became the leader of the 4 pavilions, and he's the most likely to inherit the position of Palace Master. But if he becomes the Palace Master, it will definitely bring disaster to our 3 pavilions. So we have been thinking of a way to save ourselves. Senior Xue, is the Misty Heaven sect just going to watch the 3 of you fight among yourselves and do nothing? Yi Chuanfeng asked, puzzled. Sigh. Our Misty Heaven sect has been declining since ancient times, and we have always wanted to rise again, but how difficult is that? So our sect master is very willing to see competition, and only competition can stimulate our potential. With the Misty Heaven sect's current situation, what we need is wolves, not sheep. Xue Piaomiao sighed softly and said, So if Xue Mingxian can suddenly rise, even if we have to sacrifice ourselves, the Misty Heaven sect is willing to do it. What a cruel cultivation law. Yi Chuanfeng sighed. There is no other way. If our Misty Heaven sect can't rise again, perhaps in the near future, we will be swallowed by other forces. Xue Piaomiao shook her head and said, The cruelty of the Qingyun realm is not something you can imagine. Many talented ascenders couldn't adapt to the cruel rules and were quickly eliminated. While speaking, the red-crowned crane passed through the sea of clouds and layers of restrictions and came to a mountain range. Surrounded by the mountain range, there were many buildings that were carved by God, and waterfalls, spiritual bamboo, fairy ponds, and strange stones intersected with each other, just like a fairyland. Here we are. This is my Bishue Immortal Pavilion. Xue Piaomiao pointed at the fairyland in front of them and said, From now on, you are the disciples of my Bishue Immortal Pavilion. You will cultivate here well and strive to break through to the Tao Master realm as soon as possible. Yes, Yi Chenfeng nodded and didn't tell Shui Piaomiao their real realms. However, in Yi Chenfeng's mind, he wanted to help Shui Piaomiao become the palace master of the Snow Palace. Only when Shui Piaomiao's status rose could he have the opportunity to enter the depths of the Misty Heaven sect and find the ancient secret place that Yu Wuji told him about. Screech. Press and hold for 3 seconds to copy. Chapter 1562. 1 second, little say section. Org. Wonderful, no pop-up window, free reading. Master. Seeing Shui Piaomiao jump off the crane, several young and beautiful girls in pale yellow martial arts suits stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Chenfeng, Wendy, they're my new disciples. From now on, they will be cultivating in my Bishue Immortal Pavilion. Shui Piaomiao nodded and introduced Yi Chenfeng and Xiao Wendy. Congratulations, Master. The disciples of the Bishue Immortal Pavilion glanced at Yi Chenfeng and Xiao Wendy and stepped forward to congratulate her. Senior Shui, are most of the disciples in the Bishue Immortal Pavilion female? Yi Chenfeng asked as he looked around the picturesque Bishue Celestial Pavilion and discovered that all the girls in the pavilion were female disciples. Yes, my Bishue Immortal Pavilion is different from other immortal pavilions. Except for you, all of the disciples here are female. Shui Piaomiao nodded and said, but I believe in your character and value your potential more. I believe that you can bring me even greater surprises. All right, Hong Shi, bring Chengfeng and Winnie to the White Cliff Courtyard. From now on, the White Cliff Courtyard will be your place of cultivation. After you settle down, I will ask Hong Shi to bring you to the Preaching Cliff and the Treasure Cliff tomorrow to choose suitable cultivation techniques and weapons for you. Shui Piaomiao called over a tall and beautiful woman who was wearing a fiery red martial arts suit. She walked like a ball of fire and instructed. Thank you, Senior Piaomiao. Although Yi Chenfeng was Shui Piaomiao's disciple after joining the Bishue Immortal Pavilion, he was unwilling to call Shui Piaomiao master, and Shui Piaomiao didn't mind. Chenfeng, Wendy, I am Master's eldest disciple. You can call me Senior Sister Hong or Senior Sister from now on. If you have any problems in the future, you can look for me directly. As long as it is within my ability, I will definitely help you solve it. On the way to the White Cliff Courtyard, Hong Shi spoke very enthusiastically and won the favor of Yi Chenfeng and Xiao Wendy. Thank you, Senior Sister. Xiao Wendy revealed 2 cute little dimples and said sweetly, Buzz buzz. When Red Brook brought Yi Chenfeng duo to the edge of a precipitous cliff, a series of ear-piercing sword cries suddenly entered their ears. Through the slowly drifting clouds, Yi Chenfeng saw a tall woman wearing a long blue dress. She held a long sword in her hand and was performing a sword dance in the sea of clouds. Streaks of sharp sword light were like blooming flowers, surging in all directions, riddling the sea of clouds on the cliff with thousands of holes. While she was wielding her sword, the sound of waves could be heard from her graceful body from time to time, as if there was a vast river hidden within her body. Eldest Senior Sister, who is she? Although Xiao Wendy's talent was quite good, and she had refined the spirit's source, and her strength was even more astonishing, when she saw the woman in the sea of clouds, she instinctively felt inferior. In addition, the blue-robed woman's appearance did not lose out to hers, causing her to feel curious. She is our 3rd junior sister Yulanxin, the #1 genius of our Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion. She is also the pride of our master. Junior sister Yu already has 1 foot in the 1-star Dao Emperor realm. Red Brook softly introduced Wang. As she spoke, the ear-piercing cry of a sword entered the ears of Yi Chenfeng and the others. Yulanxin's figure flashed. Like a divine sword unsheathed from its scabbard, she appeared in front of Yi Chenfeng and the others. When she saw Yi Chenfeng, her incomparably cold face clearly revealed a trace of emotion. She icily asked, Eldest Senior Sister, who is he? Why has he appeared in my Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion? Junior Apprentice Sister Yu. He is a disciple that Master has just accepted. He is our junior apprentice brother. Red Brook faintly smiled. A male disciple that Master accepted? Yu Lanxin revealed a look of surprise. She sized up Yi Qinfeng several times. Suddenly, a sharp sword light shot out from her body, cutting towards Yi Qinfeng with a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. This attack could be said to be extremely sudden. In addition, Yu Lanxin's strength was extraordinary. It was nearly impossible for a master of the same level to guard against it. But with the God-Eater Brain's deduction, Yi Qinfeng was able to easily grasp the trajectory of Yu Lanxin's sword. He quickly stretched out a finger and pointed at it. The crisp sound of something breaking echoed through the air. Yi Qinfeng's finger was filled with the strength of several 100,000,000 genes. Although he broke Yu Lanxin's unexpected attack, he still pretended to take 3 steps back. "You're not bad." Yu Lanxin's icy-cold eyes shined with a brilliant light. She deeply looked at Yi Qinfeng and then turned to leave. "Qinfeng, Wendy, don't mind her. Although third junior apprentice sister is a bit cold, she's still a good person. When my Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion's people are bullied, it's usually third junior apprentice sister who takes action to seek justice for us." Red Brook admired Yu Lanxin. "All right, in front of us is White Cliff Courtyard. From now on, you can cultivate here. Early tomorrow morning, I'll bring you to Dao, Inheritance Cliff, and Treasure Pavilion to choose cultivation methods and weapons." Red Brook undid the spells around White Cliff Courtyard, spoke a few words, and then left. "Come on, let's go in and take a look." Looking at the courtyard that was built on the edge of the cliff and planted with many white cedar trees, Yi Qinfeng was very satisfied with the environment. He walked in with Xiao Wendy. "What a rich spiritual energy. There's a spirit-gathering array in this courtyard." After entering White Cliff Courtyard, Yi Qinfeng immediately felt a rich spiritual energy rush towards him. There was a spirit-gathering array hidden in the courtyard, constantly gathering spiritual energy that didn't disperse for a long time. Late at night, stars dotted the sky and clouds slowly drifted in the wind. Yi Qinfeng calmed his heart, absorbing the pure spiritual energy of the heavens. As he cultivated the ether's secret art, he suddenly opened his eyes and looked outside, revealing a look of surprise. He gently waved his right hand and undid the spells around the room. Then he called in Xia Wendy, who had been pacing back and forth outside. "Matzi, do you need something from me?" Yi Qinfeng softly asked as he looked at Xia Wendy. Xia Wendy was wearing a long gauze dress, and her body was faintly discernible. She gave off a feeling that she was half hugging a peepa and half covering her face. "I've come to offer my body." Xia Wendy gently bit her lips and looked into Yi Qinfeng's eyes. She took a deep breath and gently raised her head. "What offer your body?" Yi Qinfeng's expression froze. His eyes widened as he asked with a look of surprise. "You've been provoked." "Yes, this lady has been provoked." Xia Wendy nodded her head and said, "After ascending to the heaven domain, I realized that I'm not good at everything. I'm also being targeted by people, and I don't know when an accident will happen. Rather than giving my most precious first time to some random cat or dog, I'd rather give it to you. At least you won't be so annoying." "Matzi, is this your attitude of offering your body?" Yi Qinfeng smiled and teased. "Do you think I'll accept any random cat or dog?" "You, what do you mean?" Xiao Wendy was angry and valiantly said, "Am I that ugly? Is it something you can't accept? I don't care. This lady must offer her body today. You have no choice but to agree." Saying this, Xiao Wendy angrily walked in front of Yi Qinfeng. But when she saw Yi Qinfeng's eyes staring at her faintly discernible twin peaks, her delicate face flushed red. "Matzi, I know what you're worried about, but I can guarantee you that no one in the heaven domain can harm you. Not even the Tao Lord." Yi Qinfeng looked at Xia Wendy, whose eyes were flickering as she struggled with her thoughts, and softly promised. "Really?" Xia Wendy's eyes lit up. "Really?" Yi Qinfeng nodded his head and said without hesitation, "Now, are you still considering offering your body?" As he spoke, Yi Qinfeng extended his arms and embraced the rosy cheeks of Xia Wendy into his embrace. "You big pervert, let go of me." Xia Wendy felt her heart beat faster. She coquettishly struggled out of Yi Qinfeng's embrace and said, "This lady has changed her mind. I want to offer my body." After she finished speaking, Xiao Wendy was like a frightened rabbit as she fled as fast as she could. Chapter 1562. Never know what regret is early in the morning. The gentle sunlight shone through the window and woke up Yi Chunfeng from his cultivation. After cultivating the art of the ether for a night, Yi Chunfeng had basically comprehended the art of the ether. He had also grasped the first form of the art of the ether's reproduction, ether's seal. Matzi, did you have a good rest last night? Yi Chunfeng took a simple bath in his room, changed into a set of clean clothes, and walked out of the wooden house. He saw Xiao Wendy, who was wearing a white martial arts suit, looking valiant and valiant without losing her charm, waiting for him in the courtyard. None of your business. Xiao Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Chunfeng. Why, are you still angry? Yi Chunfeng smiled and said jokingly, How about this? I'll give you another promise. The next time you want to offer your body, I will definitely not reject you. You, give, me, go, die. Xiao Wendy's delicate cheeks immediately flushed red. She angrily said, Damn pervert, if you dare mention what happened last night again, I won't forgive you. Okay, I won't talk about it anymore. Seeing Xiao Wendy's angry appearance, Yi Chunfeng didn't laugh at her anymore. He waited with her in the courtyard for a while until Hongxi arrived. They rode on a red-crowned crane and left the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion. They went to the depths of the misty Immortal Mountain, where there was a 10-foot-tall treasure pavilion. It was built like a pagoda and bathed in restrictive light. Hongxi pointed at the treasure pavilion in front of them and said, The treasure pavilion is in front of us. Our misty immortal sect has a total of 4 treasure pavilions. They are located in the 4 palaces and belong to the 4 palace masters. Senior sister, are there any rules when we go to the treasure pavilion? Xiao Wendy asked. No, as long as you have enough contribution points, you could take away any treasure in the treasure pavilion. Hongxi said. Contribution points. Xiao Wendy frowned slightly. Don't worry, Master has already given you 10,000 contribution points. It's enough for you to choose a suitable top-grade sacred artifact. Hongxi said, Let's go in. After saying that, Hongxi led Yi Chunfeng and the other 2 to the pagoda-shaped treasure pavilion. Senior sister, who is that? After passing through the restrictive barrier and arriving at the bottom of the treasure pavilion, Yi Chunfeng was surprised to see an old man bound in chains in a remote corner of the treasure pavilion. His body was covered in a thick layer of dust, and his beard touched the ground. There wasn't a trace of spiritual qi on his body. Although Yi Chunfeng could not sense the old man's aura, he still felt a strong sense of danger from him when he saw him. Hence, he sent a voice transmission to Xiao Chun. I don't know who he is either. When I came to the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion, he already existed. Even Master doesn't know his identity. We all call him Sinerdai. Hongxi said. After speaking, Hongxi led Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Chun through a thin layer of restrictions and entered the treasure pavilion to pick out treasures. Although there was no lack of true spirit sacred artifacts in the treasure pavilion, they required too many contribution points. 10,000 contribution points were only enough for Yi Chunfeng and Hongxi to choose 2 top-grade sacred artifacts of good quality. After the selection, Xiao Wendy chose a piece of red silk that was a top-grade sacred artifact, while Yi Chunfeng chose a pair of boxing gloves that could amplify 10% of his strength. Hey, isn't this junior sister Hongxi? Why do you bring your disciples here to choose treasures? When Yi Chunfeng and Hongxi had just finished choosing treasures, a sarcastic voice sounded behind them. A 5-star Dao master in a black martial arts suit walked over slowly with 2 disciples. He had an extraordinary bearing and was a 5-star Dao master. Let's go and choose my treasures. Let's go back. She didn't even look at the black-clothed man and was about to leave with Yi Chunfeng and Hongxi. Hongxi, don't be in such a hurry to leave. The black-clothed man reached out to stop her and said, If you agree to be my dual cultivation partner, you can choose any of the true spirit sacred artifacts here. Fu Tao, I've already said that I'm not interested in you. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being rude to you. Hongxi looked at the self-righteous black-clothed man and said coldly, But I'm interested in you. Fu Tao looked at Hongxi with scorching eyes and said, When he saw Xiao Wendy, standing behind Hong Shi. The light in his eyes became even more dazzling, as if he wanted to see through Xiao Wendy. This junior sister is... The more Fu Tao looked at Xiao Wendy, the more he liked her. Although Hong Shi was very beautiful, he found that Hong Shi was inferior to Xiao Wendy in terms of appearance, figure, and temperament when she stood beside Xiao Wendy. He quickly changed his target and said with a smile that he thought was very handsome. Xiao Wendy glanced at Fu Tao coldly and directly ignored him. She was about to leave with Hong Shi and Yi Chenfeng. Junior sister, don't be so anxious. Fu Tao quickly stood in front of Xiao Wendy and said, Junior sister, do you want a true spirit sacred artifact? If you ask, I'll give it to you. Get out. Before Xiao Wendy could say anything, Yi Chenfeng opened his mouth and cursed in front of everyone. Damn it! Where did this bastard come from? How dare he insult me? Fu Tao was a trusted follower of Xuan Mingxian. Relying on Xuan Mingxuan's reputation, he was arrogant and domineering. He glared at Yi Chenfeng and said fiercely, Buzz! When he was about to threaten Yi Chenfeng with his identity, two illusory, Xian-level doubt diagrams appeared in Yi Chenfeng's deep eyes. Endless illusory, Dao meaning directly penetrated his eyes and instantly controlled his brain and consciousness. Kneel down, Yi Chenfeng said coldly. Plop. As soon as Yi Chenfeng finished speaking, Fu Tao, a fifth-level Dao master, knelt on the ground like a pug under the gazes of many pairs of dumbfounded eyes. Bark like a dog. Yi Chenfeng continued. Woof, woof, woof. A series of lifelike barks came out of Fu Tao's mouth, causing many people to burst into laughter. Boy, you're courting death. Seeing Yi Chenfeng humiliating Fu Tao in public and provoking the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion, the people of the Pavilion of Sunset Snow were furious. They all burst out powerful auras and locked onto Yi Chenfeng, ready to teach him a lesson. All of you kneeled down as well. Although the disciples of the Pavilion of Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion were powerful, their understanding of Dao meaning was too shallow. They could not withstand the erosion of the illusory Xian-level Dao diagrams. As their brain and consciousness were controlled, they knelt there like dogs like Fu Tao. Junior brother, the people of the Pavilion of Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion are not to be trifled with. Let's leave quickly. Although the scene in front of her was very satisfying, Hong Shi knew how overbearing the Pavilion of Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion was. She did not dare to stay any longer and left the Treasure Pavilion with Yi Chenfeng. Stop. All of you stop right there. After losing the control of the illusory Dao meaning, Fu Tao and the others instantly regained their clarity. When they saw themselves kneeling on the ground like dogs, they were furious and quickly chased after them. What happened? A deep voice sounded in the slowly floating sea of clouds. A sixth-level Dao master in a white martial arts suit appeared outside the Treasure Pavilion, riding a golden eagle. Second senior brother, you must uphold justice for us. Looking at the man with a strong aura who jumped off the golden eagle, Fu Tao and the others were overjoyed. They scolded Yi Chenfeng and the others for their crimes. Well, is junior brother Fu telling the truth? Hearing Fu Tao's complaint, the white-robed man's face darkened. He looked at Yi Chenfeng and the others and said coldly, Shui Yugong, don't you know what kind of person Fu Tao is? If he was not unreasonable first, we would not have taught him a lesson. Hong Shi was afraid that Yi Chenfeng and the others would be at a disadvantage, so she stood in front of them and said firmly, It seems that it is true. Shui Yugong's face darkened instantly. He pointed at Yi Chenfeng and said, Well, I will not bully you. Break your own legs and crawl out of here, then I will let you go. Otherwise, I promise you will regret it. Regret? Yi Chenfeng smiled and retorted, I've grown up, but I've never known what regret is. Amazing but full and charming figure. WeChat public. Ming 22, press for 3 seconds to copy. You know it, I know it too. Chapter 1563. A genius remembers everything in 1 second, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Early in the morning, the gentle sunlight shone through the window and woke up Yi Chenfeng from his cultivation. After cultivating the art of the azure skies for a night, Yi Chun-feng had basically comprehended the art of the azure skies and mastered the first form of the azure skies seal. Matsi, did you have a good rest last night? Yi Chun-feng took a simple bath in his room, changed into a set of clean clothes, and walked out of the wooden house. He saw Xiao Wendy, who was wearing a white martial arts suit, looking valiant without losing her charm, waiting for him in the courtyard. None of your business. Xiao Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Chun-feng. What? Are you still angry? Yi Chun-feng smiled and joked. How about this? I'll give you another promise. The next time you want to give yourself to me, I won't reject you. You. Give. Me. Go. Die. Xiao Wendy's delicate cheeks immediately flushed red. She angrily said, Stinking pervert, if you dare to mention what happened last night again, I won't forgive you. Okay, I won't talk about it anymore. Seeing Xiao Wendy's angry appearance, Yi Chun-feng didn't laugh at her anymore. He waited with her in the courtyard for a while until Hongxi arrived. They rode on the red-crowned crane and left the Jade, Snow, Immortal Pavilion. They went to the depths of the misty, Immortal Mountain, where there was a 10-foot-tall treasure pavilion. It was built like a pagoda and bathed in the light of restrictions. Up ahead is the treasure pavilion. Our Misty Heaven sect has a total of 4 treasure pavilions. They're located in the 4 palaces and belong to the palace masters of the 4 palaces. Hongxi pointed at the treasure pavilion in front and introduced softly. Eldest senior sister, are there any rules for choosing treasures in the treasure pavilion? Xiao Wendy asked. No, as long as you have enough contribution points. You can take away any treasure in the treasure pavilion. Hongxi said. Contribution points. Xiao Wendy frowned slightly. Don't worry. Master has already allocated 10,000 contribution points for all of you. It's enough for all of you to choose a suitable top-grade saint artifact in the treasure pavilion. Hongxi said, let's go in. Saying this, Hongxi led Yi Chun-feng and Li Wuyo towards the pagoda-shaped treasure pavilion. Eldest senior sister, who is that person? Passing through the restriction, Yi Chun-feng arrived at the bottom of the treasure pavilion. To his surprise, he saw an old man bound in chains at a far corner of the treasure pavilion. His body was covered in a thick layer of dust, and his beard was so long that it touched the ground. There was not a single trace of spirit energy ripple coming from him. Although he couldn't sense the old man's aura, Yi Chun-feng still felt a strong sense of danger from him when he saw him. So he asked through voice transmission, I don't know who he is either. When I came to the Bishua Celestial Pavilion, he already existed. Even Master doesn't know his identity. We all call him Sin or Die. Redstream said. Saying this, Hongxi led Yi Chun-feng and Li Wuyo through a thin restriction and entered the treasure pavilion to choose treasures. Although there was no lack of true spirit saint artifacts in the treasure pavilion, they required too many contribution points. 10,000 contribution points were only enough for Yi Chun-feng and Li Wuyo to choose 2 top-grade saint artifacts of good quality. After the selection, Xiao Wendy chose a piece of red silk that was a top-grade saint artifact, while Yi Chun-feng chose a pair of boxing gloves that could amplify 10% of his strength. Hey, isn't this junior sister Hongxi? Why do you bring your disciples here to choose treasures? Just as Yi Chun-feng and Li Wuyo finished choosing treasures, a sarcastic voice came from behind them. A 5-star Dao master in a black martial arts suit walked over slowly with 2 disciples. He had an extraordinary bearing and was a 5-star Dao master. Let's go and choose my treasures. Let's go back. She didn't even look at the man in black and was about to leave with Yi Chun-feng and Li Wuyo. Hongxi, don't be in such a hurry to leave. The man in black reached out to stop her and said, if you agree to be my dual cultivation partner, you can choose any of the true spirit saint artifacts here. Hongxi looked at the self-righteous man in black and said coldly, Fu Tao, I've already said that I'm not interested in you. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being rude to you. But I'm interested in you. Fu Tao looked at Hongxi with scorching eyes. When he saw Xiao Wendy standing behind Hongxi, the light in his eyes became more dazzling, as if he wanted to see through Xiao Wendy. This junior sister is... The more Fu Tao looked at Xiao Wendy, the more he liked her. Although she was very beautiful. He found that she was inferior to Xiao Wendy in terms of appearance, figure, and temperament when she stood beside Xiao Wendy. He quickly changed his target and said with a smile that he thought was very handsome. Xiao Wendy coldly glanced at Fu Tao and directly treated him as heir. She followed Hong Shi and Yi Chunfeng and was about to leave. Junior sister, don't be so anxious. Fu Tao quickly stood in front of Xiao Wendy and said, Junior sister, do you want a true Spirit Saint artifact? If you ask, I'll give you one. Scram. Without waiting for Xiao Wendy to speak, Yi Chunfeng opened his mouth and insulted her in front of everyone. Mother of asterisk Kerr, where did this trash come from? How dare you insult me? Fu Tao was Shueming Xuan's trusted aide. Relying on Shueming Xuan's tiger skin, he was arrogant and domineering. He glared at Yi Chunfeng and said fiercely, Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as he was about to use his identity to threaten Yi Chunfeng, two large illusory Dao diagrams appeared in Yi Chunfeng's deep eyes. Endless illusory Dao intent directly penetrated his eyes, instantly taking control of his brain and consciousness. Kneel, Yi Chunfeng said coldly. Plop. As soon as Yi Chunfeng's voice fell, Fu Tao, a fifth-level Dao master, knelt on the ground like a pug under the gazes of many pairs of almost dull eyes. Bark like a dog, Yi Chunfeng continued. Woof, woof, woof. A series of vivid barks came out of Fu Tao's mouth, causing many people to burst into laughter. Boy, you're courting death. When the people of the Pavilion of Sunset Snow found that Yi Chunfeng humiliated Fu Tao in public and provoked the Pavilion of Sunset Snow, they were immediately enraged. They released powerful auras and locked onto Yi Chunfeng, ready to teach him a lesson. You all kneel down too. Although the disciples of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion had extraordinary strength, their comprehension of Dao intent was too shallow, and they couldn't withstand the erosion of the profound illusion Dao diagram at all. As their minds and consciousnesses were controlled, they were like Fu Tao, kneeling there like dogs. Junior brother, the people of the Pavilion of Sunset Snow are not to be trifled with. We'd better leave quickly. Although the scene in front of her was very satisfying, She knew how overbearing the Pavilion of Sunset Snow was. She did not dare to stay any longer and left the Treasure Pavilion with Yi Chunfeng. Stop! All of you stop right there. After losing the control of the illusory Dao intent, Fu Tao and the others instantly regained their clarity. When they saw themselves kneeling on the ground like dogs, they were instantly furious and quickly chased after them. What happened? A deep voice sounded in the slowly floating sea of clouds. A man in a white martial arts suit, a sixth-level Dao master, who was riding a golden eagle, appeared outside the Treasure Pavilion. Second senior brother, you must uphold justice for us. Seeing the man with a strong aura jumping off the golden eagle, Fu Tao and the others were overjoyed and scolded Yi Chunfeng and the others for their crimes. Well, junior brother Fu, are you telling the truth? Hearing Fu Tao's complaints, the white-robed man's face darkened. He looked at Yi Chunfeng and the others and said coldly, Shui Yugong, don't you know what kind of person Fu Tao is? If he hadn't been unreasonable first, we wouldn't have taught him a lesson. She was afraid that Yi Chunfeng and the others would be at a disadvantage. So she stood in front of them and said firmly, It seems that it's true. Shui Yugong's face darkened instantly. He pointed at Yi Chunfeng and said, Well, I won't bully you. Break your own legs and crawl out of here. Then I'll let you go. Otherwise, I promise you'll regret it. Regret? Yi Chunfeng smiled and said tit for tat. I've never known what regret is in my life. P.S. Red envelope for 5 updates. Press and hold for 3 seconds to copy. Chapter 1564. A genius remembers everything in 1 second, providing you with wonderful novels to read. Early in the morning, the gentle sunlight shone through the window and woke up Yi Chunfeng from his cultivation. After cultivating the art of the azure skies for a night, Yi Chunfeng had basically comprehended the art of the azure skies and mastered the first form of the azure sky seal. Motzi, did you have a good rest last night? Yi Chunfeng took a simple bath in his room, changed into a set of clean clothes, and walked out of the wooden house. He saw Xiao Wendy, who was wearing a white martial arts suit, looking valiant and valiant without losing her charm, waiting for him in the courtyard. None of your business. Xiao Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Chunfeng. What? Are you still angry? Yi Chunfeng smiled and joked. How about this? I'll give you another promise. The next time you want to give yourself to me, I won't reject you. You. Give. Me. Go. Die. Xiao Wendy's delicate cheeks immediately flushed red. She angrily said, Stinking pervert, if you dare to mention what happened last night again, I won't forgive you. Okay, I won't talk about it anymore. Seeing Xiao Wendy's angry appearance, Yi Chunfeng didn't laugh at her anymore. He waited with her in the courtyard for a while until Hongxi arrived. They rode on the red-crowned crane and left the jade, snow, immortal pavilion. They went to the depths of the misty, immortal mountain, where there was a 10-foot-tall treasure pavilion. It was built like a pagoda and bathed in the light of restrictions. Up ahead is the treasure pavilion. Our Misty Heaven sect has a total of 4 treasure pavilions. They are located in the 4 palaces and belong to the palace masters of the 4 palaces. Hongxi pointed at the treasure pavilion in front and introduced softly. Eldest senior sister, are there any rules for choosing treasures in the treasure pavilion? Xiao Wendy asked. No, as long as you have enough contribution points, you can take away any treasure in the treasure pavilion. Hongxi said. Contribution points. Xiao Wendy frowned slightly. Don't worry. Master has already allocated 10,000 contribution points for all of you. It's enough for all of you to choose a suitable top-grade saint artifact in the treasure pavilion. Hongxi said, let's go in. Saying this, she led Yi Chunfeng and Li Wuyo towards the pagoda-shaped treasure pavilion. Eldest senior sister, who is that person? Passing through the restriction, Yi Chunfeng arrived at the bottom of the treasure pavilion. To his surprise, he saw an old man bound in chains at a far corner of the treasure pavilion. His body was covered in a thick layer of dust, and his beard was so long that it touched the ground. There was not a single trace of spirit energy ripple coming from him. Although he couldn't sense the old man's aura, Yi Chunfeng still felt a strong sense of danger from him when he saw him. So he asked through voice transmission, I don't know who he is either. When I came to the Bishua Celestial Pavilion, he already existed. Even Master doesn't know his identity. We all call him Sin or Die. Redstream said. After she finished speaking, she led Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Chun through a thin layer of restrictions and entered the treasure pavilion to pick out treasures. Although there was no lack of true spirit saint artifacts in the treasure pavilion, they required too many contribution points. 10,000 contribution points were only enough for Yi Chunfeng and Li Wuyo to choose 2 top-grade saint artifacts of good quality. After the selection, Xiao Wendy chose a piece of red silk that was a top-grade saint artifact, while Yi Chunfeng chose a pair of boxing gloves that could amplify 10% of his strength. Hey, isn't this junior sister Hongxi? Why do you bring your disciples here to choose treasures? Just as Yi Chunfeng and Li Wuyo finished choosing treasures, a sarcastic voice came from behind them. A man in a black martial arts suit with an extraordinary bearing and strength at the level of a 5-star Dao Master slowly walked over with 2 disciples. Let's go and choose my treasures. Let's go back. She didn't even look at the man in black and was about to leave with Yi Chunfeng and Li Wuyo. Hongxi, don't be in such a hurry to leave. The man in black reached out to stop her and said, if you agree to be my dual cultivation partner, you can choose any of the true spirit saint artifacts here. Hongxi looked at the self-righteous man in black and said coldly, Fu Tao, I've already said that I'm not interested in you. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being rude to you. But I'm interested in you. Fu Tao looked at Hongxi with scorching eyes. When he saw Xiao Wendy standing behind Hongxi, the light in his eyes became more dazzling, as if he wanted to see through Xiao Wendy. This junior sister is, the more Fu Tao looked at Xiao Wendy, the more he liked her. Although she was very beautiful, he found that Hongxi was inferior to Xiao Wendy in terms of appearance, figure, and temperament when she stood beside Xiao Wendy. He quickly changed his target and said with a smile that he thought was very handsome. Xiao Wendy coldly glanced at Fu Tao and directly treated him as heir. She followed Hong Shi and Yi Qinfeng and was about to leave. Junior sister, don't be so anxious. Fu Tao quickly stood in front of Xiao Wendy and said, Junior sister, do you want a true Spirit Saint artifact? If you ask, I'll give you one. Scram. Without waiting for Xiao Wendy to speak, Yi Qinfeng opened his mouth and insulted her in front of everyone. Mother asterisk Kerr, where did this trash come from? How dare you insult me? Fu Tao was Shueming Xuan's trusted aide. Relying on Shueming Xuan's tiger skin, he was arrogant and domineering. He glared at Yi Qinfeng and said fiercely, Buzz, buzz, buzz. Just as he was about to use his identity to threaten Yi Qinfeng, two large illusory, profound gray Dao diagrams appeared in Yi Qinfeng's deep eyes. Endless illusory Dao intent directly penetrated his eyes and instantly took control of his brain and consciousness. Kneel, Yi Qinfeng said coldly. Plop. As soon as Yi Qinfeng finished speaking, Fu Tao, who was a level 5 Dao master, knelt on the ground like a pug under the gazes of many pairs of dumbfounded eyes. Bark like a dog. Yi Qinfeng continued. Woof, woof, woof. A series of vivid barks came out of Fu Tao's mouth, which made many people burst into laughter. Boy, you're courting death. Seeing Yi Qinfeng humiliating Fu Tao in public and provoking the evening's Snow Immortal Pavilion, the people of the evening's Snow Immortal Pavilion were furious. They all burst out powerful auras and locked onto Yi Qinfeng, ready to teach him a lesson. You all kneel down too. Although the disciples of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion had extraordinary strength, their comprehension of Tao intent was too shallow, and they couldn't withstand the erosion of the profound illusion Tao diagram at all. As their minds and consciousnesses were controlled, they were like Fu Tao, kneeling there like dogs. Junior brother, the people of the evening Snow Immortal Pavilion are not to be trifled with. We'd better leave quickly. Although the scene in front of her was very satisfying, Hong Shi knew how overbearing the evening Snow Immortal Pavilion was. She did not dare to stay any longer and left the treasure pavilion with Yi Qinfeng. Stop! All of you, stop right there. After losing the control of the illusory Tao intent, Fu Tao and the others instantly regained their clarity. When they saw themselves kneeling on the ground like dogs, they were furious and quickly chased after them. What happened? A deep voice sounded in the slowly floating sea of clouds. A level 6 Dao master in a white martial arts suit appeared outside the treasure pavilion, riding a golden eagle. Second senior brother, you must uphold justice for us. Seeing the man with a strong aura jump off the golden eagle, Fu Tao and the others were overjoyed and scolded Yi Qinfeng and the others for their crimes. Well, junior brother Fu, are you telling the truth? Hearing Fu Tao's complaints, the white-robed man's face darkened. He looked at Yi Qinfeng and the others and said coldly, Shui Yugong, don't you know what kind of person Fu Tao is? If he wasn't being unreasonable, we wouldn't have taught him a lesson. Hong Shi was afraid that Yi Qinfeng and the others would be at a disadvantage. So she stood in front of them and said firmly, It seems that it's true. Shui Yugong's face darkened instantly. He pointed at Yi Qinfeng and said, Well, I won't bully you. Break your own legs and crawl out of here, then I'll let you go. Otherwise, I promise you'll regret it. Regret. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said tit for tat. I've never known what regret is in my life. P.S. Asking for a red packet. By the way, Shui Piaomiao's photo has been posted. If you want to see it, please add us on WeChat, YLTY83. Mobile users, please browse M. Read for a better reading experience. 1998's Big-Breasted Girl, Natural Beauty Video. WeChat, Ming22, press for 3 seconds to copy. You know it, I know it too. Chapter 1565. Shui Li. Seeing this gray-clothed man suddenly appear in front of Shui Yugong, Yu Lanxin's beautiful eyes flashed with a thick fighting spirit. She said, Since you want him to receive 2 of my swords, I'll help you. Net. As Yu Lanxin spoke, her body moved. Because her speed was too fast, she instantly transformed into 2 afterimages, weaving a dazzling attack that cut towards Shui Li. Junior apprentice Sister Yu is truly skilled. Although Yu Lanxin's sword was extremely fast, and she had simultaneously transformed into several fleets that confused the mind, Shui was still extremely strong. No one could compare with him in terms of insight. His eyes were as sharp as lightning as he locked onto Yu Lanxin's attack. He gently waved his arms, forming ripples of energy that easily shattered Yu Lanxin's attack. This Shui is truly worthy of being called Snow Palace's #1 genius. His strength isn't simple at all. Although Yi Chanfeng hadn't fought with Heavenly Emperor Howling Wind, he could feel from Shui strength that his overall combat strength wasn't much lower than Heavenly Emperor Howling Wind's. He was absolutely a genius that could jump ranks to kill enemies. Title Shadow Sword. Yu Lanxin's pupils shrank. Her foot tapped the ground, and she leapt into the air, instantly splitting into 6 figures. All of them attacked at the same time, interweaving sword scars that cut through space, attacking Shui. Facing Yu Lanxin's third move, Shui couldn't help but reveal a dignified expression. His hands rapidly formed seals, instantly forming several extremely powerful hand seals that blocked off the space in front of him, forcefully resisting Yu Lanxin's Tidal Shadow Sword. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A series of deafening explosions sounded out. Shui hand seal shattered. As for Yu Lanxin's Tidal Shadow Sword, it also vanished. Although the two of them seemed evenly matched, everyone knew that Yu Lanxin's strength was inferior to Shui. Just by looking at him easily breaking through her attack, one could see just how deep his background was. Junior apprentice Sister Yu, have you cooled down now? Shui held his hands behind his back, a faint smile on his face as he spoke. I will definitely surpass you. Yu Lanxin gazed deeply at Shui. Then, she summoned a giant crane and brought Yi Qinfeng and the others away from the treasure pavilion. Thank you, third senior apprentice sister, for standing up for us. Xiao Wendy softly thanked the equally beautiful Yu Lanxin. If I were you, I wouldn't provoke the people of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion if I knew I wasn't strong enough. Yu Lanxin glanced at Yi Qinfeng, her voice as cold as ice. That would be very stupid. Thank you for your help, Senior Sister Yu. However, if they continue to slander the Bishua Celestial Pavilion, I will still target them. Yi Qinfeng said with a smile. The only one who will suffer is you. Yu Lanxin said, and you won't be able to win any glory from my Bishua Immortal Pavilion. Maybe. Yi Qinfeng didn't argue with her. Are you going to the Dao Inheritance Cliff now? Yu Lanxin asked. Honorable Master told me to bring junior brother Chengfeng and junior sister Wendy to the Dao Inheritance Cliff today. Red Brook nodded. I have nothing to do today, so I'll accompany you. The cold-mouthed but warm-hearted Yu Lanxin said. She rode the immortal crane, passing through layers upon layers of clouds and spells, entering the depths of misty Immortal Mountain and arriving at a steep cliff. On the opposite side of the cliff was a wall of light as smooth as a mirror. This wall of light was the Dao Inheritance Heavenly Wall of the Misty Heaven Sect. The Misty Heaven Sect's selection of cultivation methods was different from the outside world. One had to rely on one's own strength to choose. In other words, one had to pour their own comprehension of the Dao into the Dao Inheritance Heavenly Wall. The Dao Inheritance Heavenly Wall would automatically reproduce a cultivation method. The deeper one's comprehension of the Dao Inheritance Heavenly Wall, the higher grade of cultivation method one would obtain. For example, Yu Lanxin had obtained a high-grade True Spirit Saint skill from the Dao Inheritance Heavenly Wall, the Blue Tide Art. Red Brook explained the rules of the Dao Inheritance Cliff in detail to Yi Qinfeng and Xiao Wendy. After paying several thousand contribution points, they waited patiently on the Dao Inheritance Cliff. As Yi Qinfeng and the others were waiting for the other disciples to pass on their cultivation methods, an ear-piercing bird cry rang out, breaking the tranquility of the Dao Inheritance Cliff. Many disciples revealed angry expressions. They looked up and saw Shui riding a golden eagle. The unhappiness on their faces immediately disappeared. Although Snow Palace was only one of the 4 palaces of the Misty Heaven Sect, their #1 genius Shui was extremely famous. The other three palaces' disciples didn't dare to provoke him, much less provoke him. Yulanxin coldly swept her eyes over Shui Li, her complexion becoming a bit ugly. She guessed that Shui Li had come to watch the show. Once Yi Chanfeng and Xia Wendy obtained a low-grade cultivation method, he would use this opportunity to attack them in front of the other three palaces and shame the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. I don't know what your comprehension of the Tao meaning is, but remember, you must do your best. Do not lose face from my Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. Yu Lanxin exhorted with a sound transmission. Don't worry, third senior apprentice sister. We won't lose face for the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. Xia Wendy softly promised, revealing a charming smile. As for Yi Qinfeng, although he didn't speak, his face was brimming with confidence, making one feel at ease. I hope so. Yu Lanxin sized up Yi Qinfeng and Xia Wendy several times, waiting in silence. She wanted to see just what was so special about these two people that her honorable master had taken special care of and made an exception to accept into the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. As Yi Qinfeng and Xia Wendy waited, they discovered that many Misty Heaven sect disciples had obtained their own cultivation methods from the Tao Inheritance Heavenly Wall. But because these disciples didn't have a deep comprehension of the Tao meaning, the highest cultivation method they obtained was only a low-grade, true Spirit Saint skill. Around 2 hours later, it was finally Yi Qinfeng and Xia Wendy's turn. After some discussion, the eager Xia Wendy walked ahead of Yi Qinfeng to the deepest part of the Tao Inheritance Cliff. From a close distance, she could see the mysterious Tao Inheritance Heavenly Wall. Taking a deep breath, Xia Wendy quickly deduced the Tao meaning. 3 profound level Tao diagrams slowly rose from her body. What? 3 profound level Tao diagrams? With her strength as a 4-star Tao saint, how could her comprehension of the Tao meaning be so deep? Heavens, when did such a genius appear in the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion? Looking at the 3 profound level Tao diagrams above Xia Wendy's head, everyone present was deeply shocked, and one after another, the sound of inhaling could be heard. It seems I misjudged her. I didn't think she would be a genius no weaker than Yulanxin. Shuelanyi revealed a smile, as if she had found her prey. She had a strong interest and desire to conquer this beautiful Xia Wendy. Not bad, not bad. Honorable Master's vision is fierce. If Xia Wendy could cultivate 3 profound level Tao diagrams, that meant the cultivation method she obtained wouldn't be bad. At this time, Yulanxin's eyes turned to the calm and steady Yi Qinfeng. Suddenly, she felt a trace of curiosity towards him, a trace of anticipation. She wanted to know just how deep his potential was. Remember the website address. Sam with Chinese Network. Chapter 1566. Phew. Xia Wendy took a deep breath. She divined the 3 profound level Tao diagrams to the limit and poured them into the Tao imparting heavenly wall, activating the strange ancient runes within. Hunt Literature Network. Suddenly, a dazzling light shined from the heavenly wall, illuminating the world and causing the onlookers to cry out in alarm. Heavens, what a bright light! Could it be that the Tao imparting heavenly wall is about to give birth to a high-grade, true Spirit Saint Art? It's very likely to be a high-grade, true Spirit Saint Art. This is a major event that will shake the entire sect. Seeing Xia Wendy bathing in the white light, the entire Tao imparting cliff exploded into an uproar. Some people had already spread the news, attracting even more people to come. It looks like I'll have to reveal some secrets. Yi Qinfeng originally wanted to hide his secrets, but he had developed a strong interest in the Tao imparting heavenly wall. If he could obtain a high-grade, true Spirit Saint Art, it would increase his strength even further. After half an incense stick of time, the white light from the Tao imparting heavenly wall began to dim. A jade slip shrouded in white light shot out from the wall, rapidly flying towards Xia Wendy. When Xia Wendy reached out and grabbed the jade slip, the information on the jade slip immediately appeared on the massive wall of light. High-grade, true spirit saint art. Soaring firmament scripture. Heavens, it really is a high-grade, true spirit saint art. If I remember correctly, a high-grade, true spirit saint art hasn't appeared in dozens of years. Last time, the high-grade true spirit saint art was obtained by Yulan Sheen of the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. I didn't think that after dozens of years, the second high-grade true spirit saint art would also be obtained by someone from the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. I heard that the pavilion masters of the Misty Heaven Sect's 4 pavilions are fighting for the position of Snow Palace Master. Pavilion Master Mingxian should have been in the bag, but now it looks like there will be a change. Seeing the information on the Tao imparting heavenly wall, the entire Tao imparting cliff exploded into an uproar once more. The disciples of the Misty Heaven sect began to fiercely discuss this. Interesting, this little girl is mine. Shui revealed a cold smile, her interest in Xia Wendy growing even stronger. Amazing. Wendai, you really gave me a big surprise. You have to know that in the entire Misty Heaven sect, the number of people who have obtained a high-ranked true spirit saint art can be counted on one hand. My Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion has 2 people who have obtained a high-ranked true spirit saint art. Master will definitely be very happy if she knows. She revealed a charming smile, sincerely feeling happy for Xiao Wendai. The frosty Yulan Xin also smiled at this time, giving Xiao Wendy a few words of encouragement. Qingfeng, it's all up to you now. If you can also obtain a high-grade, true spirit saint art, the status of my Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion will definitely be greatly improved. Thinking about how Yi Chunfeng was the only male disciple that Shui Piaomiao had accepted, and how Xiao Wendy had created a miracle, Red Brook had great expectations for him. Eldest senior sister, I wonder if there's a top-grade, true spirit saint art in the Tao imparting heavenly wall. Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment before asking. Top-grade, true spirit saint technique. Red Brook's eyes widened. At this time, Yulan Xin also cast her gaze towards Yi Chenfeng, her beautiful eyes bursting with a brilliant light. There is, Yulan Xin said, according to the ancient records, an ancestor of my Misty Heaven sect once obtained a top-grade true spirit saint art in the Tao imparting heavenly wall. But that was several hundred years ago. That's good. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath. He decided to reveal a part of his secret and try to obtain a top-grade true spirit saint art from the Tao imparting heavenly wall. Chenfeng, you wouldn't want to obtain a top-grade true spirit saint art, would you? Red Brook asked, suppressing her shock. I'll try my best. After he finished speaking, Yi Chenfeng walked towards the Tao imparting heavenly wall. Although Yi Chunfeng's words were vague, Yulan Xin could still hear a trace of confidence in his voice. Her cold face couldn't help but reveal a deep interest. Another disciple of the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion has arrived. You want to also create history, right? Humph, do you think creating history is so easy? Moreover, he's only a 4-star Tao saint. An old Misty Heaven sect disciple coldly snorted, but he had forgotten that Xiao Wendy's performance was only that of a 4-star Tao saint. Standing at the Tao imparting heavenly wall, Yi Chenfeng slowly closed his eyes. The God-Eater brain began to rapidly deduce the Tao imparting heavenly wall, perceiving the truth and falsehood of the Tao imparting heavenly wall. Suddenly, deep within the Tao imparting heavenly wall, his soul force, which was amplifying tens of thousands of times per second, sensed a ball of white light. Although the God-Eater brain couldn't deduce the truth and falsehood of this white ball of light in a short period of time, he had a feeling that the Tao imparting heavenly wall's saint arts and saint skills were related to this white ball of light. What is that fellow doing? Why is he standing at the Tao imparting heavenly wall in a daze? That's right, doesn't he know that the Tao imparting heavenly wall has a time limit? Seeing Yi Chenfeng silently standing at the foot of the Tao imparting heavenly wall, many people revealed puzzled expressions. But even more people revealed mocking expressions. Does Chengfeng want to waste this opportunity? Hong Shi calculated the time and became even more anxious. If Yi Chunfeng didn't make a move, he would lose this opportunity. Eldest senior brother, what do you think that Xing is doing? Shui Yugong looked coldly at Yi Qianfeng and said mockingly, "Umph, I think he doesn't want to lose face in front of us and is deliberately wasting this opportunity." Shui Ti snorted and mocked. Just when everyone thought that Yi Qianfeng had given up this opportunity, the Xian Life and Death Dao diagrams, Xian Heaven Earth Dao diagrams, Xian Five Elements Dao diagrams, Xian Heavenly Dao diagram, and Xian Illusion Dao diagrams all came out of his body and entered the Dao, imparting heavenly wall under his control. What? Am I seeing things? 5 great Xian Dao diagrams, and 3 of them have fused into the Xian Dao diagrams? How did this fellow cultivate? Heavens, when did 2 monsters appear in the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion? The ethereal heavenly palace's disciples saw the 3 great Xian Dao diagrams, but they didn't realize that the Xian Heavenly Dao diagram was the most difficult and the most powerful one to cultivate. How could this be? Seeing Yi Qianfeng summon the 5 great Xian Dao diagrams, Shui Ti's smile froze. A sharp light flashed in his eyes. Hum. The Dao imparting heavenly wall had fused with the 5 great Xian Dao diagrams. It was like a sun that had fallen into the mortal world, emitting a blinding light that made it hard for people to open their eyes. Golden Sword Soul, go. As the disciples of the Dao imparting cliff were covering their eyes, the Golden Sword Soul flew out of Yi Qianfeng's spiritual sea at several times the speed of light and entered the Dao, imparting heavenly wall, piercing straight towards the white sphere of light. What was that golden light just now? I didn't see it clearly. The Golden Sword Soul flew too fast. Even Shui Ti and the other disciples weren't able to see through it. But Yulan Xin, who focused on the Sword Dao, was able to sense it. As she looked at Yi Qianfeng, her expression changed. Can he really obtain a top-grade, true Spirit Saint art? Yulan Xin felt a trace of anticipation towards Yi Qianfeng. After a dozen breaths of time, the white light shining from the Dao, imparting heavenly wall, gradually dissipated. The Golden Sword Soul rapidly returned to Yi Qianfeng's spiritual sea. But besides the Golden Sword Soul, not a single jade slip flew out of the Dao, imparting heavenly wall. This left the ethereal heavenly sect's disciples puzzled. As the Dao imparting cliff was abuzz with discussion, a line of dark golden characters attracted everyone's attention. Top grade, true Spirit Saint art, ethereal, sword scripture. Seeing these words hanging from the Dao, imparting heavenly wall, everyone was stunned silly. The noisy Dao imparting cliff fell silent. Remember the website address. 3-5 Chinese Network. Chapter 1567. He really did it. A top-grade true saint art. Where did Honorable Master find these 2 monstrous geniuses? 8. Chinese. 8. 1. Z. 1. COM? Yu Lanxin sucked in a breath of cold air. She never thought that Yi Qianfeng would really obtain a top-grade true saint art. The Golden Sword Soul has finally transformed into a Golden Sword Soul. The moment that the Golden Sword Soul fused into his spiritual sea, Yi Qianfeng was pleasantly surprised to discover that not only was the Misty Sword Scripture's cultivation formula engraved within the Golden Sword Soul, but it had also completed its final transformation, transforming into an even more formidable Golden Sword Soul. Although he didn't know just how strong a Golden Sword Soul was, he had a feeling that its striking power was no weaker than a medium-grade true saint artifact. It would become one of his greatest trump cards. Motherf asterisk her. How is this possible? How could he have obtained a top-grade true saint art? Looking at the ancient characters floating above the heavenly wall of imparting Dao, Shui couldn't calm his heart for a long time. Although he was known as the #1 genius of Snow Palace, he had only obtained a medium-grade true saint art in the heavenly wall of imparting Dao. Thus, when he saw Yi Qianfeng, who was far weaker than him, obtain a top-grade true saint art, he couldn't accept this fact, and his heart burned with jealousy. 2 senior apprentice sisters. Let's go back. Yi Qianfeng glanced at the gloomy Shui Qi from the corner of his eye. Then, he leaped onto the huge red-crowned crane and flew away under the gazes of astonishment, shock, anger, and jealousy. Let's go. We'll return and tell Honorable Master this news, so he can prepare ahead of time. Shueli took a deep breath, suppressing the jealousy in his heart, and riding his golden eagle away. As for Yi Chanfeng obtaining the misty sword scripture and Xia Wendy obtaining the soaring firmament scripture, the news spread like wildfire through the entire Misty Heaven sect. What? Yi Chinfeng and Xia Wendy obtained a top-grade True Saint Art and a high-grade True Saint Art from the Heavenly Wall of Imparting Tao? After hearing this news, Xueming Xuan's complexion darkened. His deep eyes emitted a terrifying light. Shui Piao Miao, I have underestimated your means. In order to compete with me for the position of Palace Master of Snow Palace, you actually found 2 outside helpers. Xueming Xian said with a gloomy face, I admit that they are talented, but do you think I will give them time and space to grow? Xueming Xian had a strong killing intent towards Yi Chinfeng and Xia Wendy. In order to avoid any accidents, Xueming Xian wanted to find a chance to get rid of the 2 of them and eliminate all future troubles. Chinfeng, Wendai, go and rest. Today, you've won such a great honor for my Bishue Immortal Pavilion. I think Master will definitely reward you handsomely. After returning to the Bishue Immortal Pavilion, Hongxi let Yi Chanfeng and Luo Yunyang rest while she reported the events of the day to Shui Piaomiao. After returning to the White Cliff Courtyard, Yi Chanfeng and Xia Wendy immediately went into seclusion to research the true spirit sacred art they had obtained from the Imparting Cliff. I wonder if the Misty Sword Codex is related to the ancient mystery. Although Yi Chanfeng hadn't discovered the truth behind the white ball of light in the imparting heavenly wall, he had a feeling that the ancient mystery of the Misty Heaven sect might be related to the imparting heavenly wall. However, his current strength was far too weak. Even if he knew where the ancient mystery was hidden, it was impossible for him to obtain it with his current strength, unless the torch dragon awoke to help him. After pondering for a moment, Yi Chanfeng calmed his heart. He controlled the god-devouring brain and began to study the Misty Sword Codex's cultivation mantras within the Golden Sword Soul, attempting to cultivate it. The Misty Sword Codex was a saint art that used the sword as its foundation. It contained 3 great offensive true spirit sacred skills: the Misty True Extreme Sword, the Misty Ancient Extreme Sword, and the Misty Great Tao Sword. Of the 3, the Misty Great Tao Sword's attack power had reached the limit of a top-grade true spirit sacred skill. With a single slash of the sword, even an ordinary Tao Emperor Master would find it difficult to block. Besides these 3 great offensive true spirit sacred skills, the Misty Sword Codex also recorded many insights into the Sword Tao. It was extremely precious. On the second day after Yi Chanfeng studied the Misty Sword Codex in silence, Yu Lanxin came alone. Third senior apprentice sister, how come you're here? Looking at Yu Lanxin, who was wearing a long blue dress and had an incomparably cold temperament, giving off an unapproachable feeling, Yi Chanfeng faintly smiled and asked, I came today for 2 reasons. The first reason is that Honorable Master asked me to bring 60,000 contribution points to Junior Apprentice Brother Yi and Junior Apprentice Sister Xia as a reward for yesterday. The second reason is that I wonder if Junior Apprentice Brother Yi is willing to share the Misty Sword Codex with me. Yu Lanxin didn't avoid the question and stared straight at Yi Chinfeng. You can refuse. Senior Apprentice Sister is a genius of the Sword Tao. Of course, I am willing to share the Misty Sword Codex with Senior Apprentice Sister. Yi Chinfeng faintly smiled. I won't take advantage of you. I will share the blue tide art with you. A rare smile appeared on Yu Lanxin's cold face. No need. If Senior Apprentice Sister is truly grateful to me, then help me obtain some top-quality saint swords. Although the blue tide art was a high-level art, it wasn't very useful to Yi Chinfeng. What he urgently needed right now was a large number of top-quality saint swords to increase the power of the universe sword array. How many do you need? Yu Lanxin asked, a trace of surprise in her eyes. The more the better. Yi Chinfeng wasn't polite at all. I have 20 top-quality saint swords on main. Is that enough? With a thought, Yu Lanxin summoned all the top-quality saint swords she had on her and gave them to Yi Chenfeng. Senior apprentice sister, if I were to use contribution points to exchange at the treasure pavilion, how much would a top-quality saint sword cost? Yi Chenfeng asked. A top-quality saint sword is not cheap. A top-quality saint sword is not below 5,000 contribution points. Yulanxin said. 5,000? That's a lot. Although Yulanxin had brought 60,000 contribution points, this was only enough to exchange for 12 top-quality saint swords. This was far from the 200 that Yi Chenfeng needed. Senior apprentice sister, what is the fastest way to earn contribution points? Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment and asked. Accept sect missions. The more difficult the mission, the more contribution points you will receive. However, junior apprentice brother Yi, although your talent is extraordinary and your comprehension of the Tao meaning is extremely deep, your cultivation is still too low. I suggest that you consider how to cultivate to the Tao sovereign realm in a short period of time. Yulanxin said in a clear voice. Don't worry, third senior apprentice sister. I am confident that I can break through to the Tao sovereign realm within 3 years. Yi Chenfeng faintly smiled and confidently said, 3 years. To break through from a 4-star Tao saint to a 1-star Tao sovereign in 3 years was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. But as she thought of Yi Chenfeng's repeated miracles, Yulanxin felt that perhaps he had the strength. Senior apprentice sister, if you have time, let's begin studying the misty sword scripture. I've just started cultivating it, and there are many areas that I don't understand. I might as well ask senior apprentice sister for guidance. Yi Chenfeng lowered his posture and softly said, All right. Yulanxin nodded. She also wanted to experience this top-quality, true spirit saint art that hadn't appeared for countless years. She wanted to see just how mysterious it was and just how powerful it was. Wang, a dazzling golden light broke out from Yi Chenfeng's spiritual sea, shining with a dazzling light as it floated in front of him and Yulanxin. Gold Sword Soul. Looking at the Gold Sword Soul at such a close distance, Yulanxin felt her soul tremble. She was well aware of what it meant to cultivate a Gold Sword Soul. She knew that her own attainments in the Tao of the Sword were extraordinary, but compared to Yi Chenfeng, she found that the difference was far too great. Moreover, Yi Chenfeng had unreservedly revealed the Gold Sword Soul to her, allowing her to comprehend it. This would allow her to obtain great harvests. She was extremely grateful to him. However, her personality was too cold, and she didn't say many words of gratitude. Even so, she would always remember this kindness in her heart. Chapter 1568. Time passed day by day. 8. 1 Chinese network. 1. 8. 1. Z. 1. Com. The Misty Sword scripture was extremely profound and profound. It deeply attracted Yulanxin, causing her to live in the White Cliff courtyard without any hesitation. She spent every day with Yi Chenfeng, studying the Misty Sword scripture. Looking at the two of them together, Xia Wendy suddenly felt uncomfortable in her heart. But she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. She could only curse Yi Chenfeng in her heart and find a chance to teach him a lesson. Soon a month passed. With Yi Chenfeng and Yulanxin working together, they had comprehended the Misty Sword scripture. Their comprehension of the Sword Tao had deepened, and they had grasped the Misty True Extreme Sword. As for the Misty Ancient Extreme Sword, the Misty Grand Tao Sword was too profound, and the requirements for one's cultivation were too high. Thus, the two of them were currently unable to cultivate it. Chenfeng, are you really only a 4-star Tao saint? After seeing Yi Chenfeng's perception and talent, the proud and arrogant Yulanxin was completely convinced. She looked at Yi Chenfeng with even more shock, as if she couldn't see through him at all. What? Does third senior apprentice sister suspect that I'm hiding my strength? Yi Chenfeng faintly smiled. He looked at Yulan Xin's exquisite facial features up close. No, I'm just sighing. Why is your perception so high when your cultivation is so low? You must know that not just anyone can comprehend a top-grade, true spirit saint art. Even a Tao emperor would find it difficult to do so, but you were able to comprehend its mysteries. You really do surprise me. Yulanxin didn't avoid Yi Qinfeng's gaze. She met his deep eyes as if she wanted to see through him. If it weren't for third senior apprentice sister's help, I don't think we would have been able to comprehend the misty sword scripture in such a short period of time. Yi Qinfeng smiled, changing the topic. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. No matter what, I owe you a favor. In the future, I will find a chance to repay you. Yu Lanxin gently brushed her hair back from her forehead and gently stood up. All right, perhaps I really do need third senior sister's help. Yi Qinfeng looked at the incomparably beautiful Yu Lanxin. Junior apprentice brother Yu and junior apprentice sister Xia need to be careful these days. The Misty Heavens sect isn't peaceful at all. I believe that there are many people who covet the Misty Sword Scripture and Soaring Firmament Sage Scripture. If there is any danger, tell me, and I will help you. Yu Lanxin warned them and then floated away. As soon as Yu Lanxin left, Xiao Wendy came out. She said in a strange tone, "Don't look anymore. She's already gone far away. If you keep looking, you'll steal her soul away. Are you jealous?" Yi Qinfeng looked at the fuming Xiao Wendy and said, half-jokingly, "Eat your head. Do you think you're very handsome? What a narcissist." Xiao Wendy rolled her eyes at Yi Qinfeng. Yi Qinfeng laughed, no longer teasing Xiao Wendy. He grabbed her hand and said, "Haha, let's go to the mission pavilion." "What are we going to the mission pavilion for?" Xiao Wendy glanced at him and pulled back her hand. "To accept missions and earn contribution points." Yi Qinfeng said, "Isn't it too dangerous for us to accept missions at this time?" Xiao Wendy asked. She was well aware of just how sensational it was for her and Yi Qinfeng to obtain a supreme inheritance at Dao Teaching Cliff. She knew just how difficult it was for them to accept missions without permission and leave the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion. "What? Are you scared?" Looking at the worried Xiao Wendy, Yi Qinfeng smiled. "You're not doing this on purpose, right?" Thinking that Yi Qinfeng was definitely not an impulsive person and seeing his relaxed appearance, Xiao Wendy suddenly thought of a possibility. "Let's go. Even if the sky falls down, I'll hold it up for you. Nothing will happen." With Zhulong's support, Yi Qinfeng would not be afraid even if a Taoist master chased after them. Moreover, Taoist masters were definitely top-notch existences in the sky region. Existences like Taoist gods and Taoist ancestors could only be seen in the Void God realm. After leaving the White Cliff courtyard, Yi Qinfeng used his identity token to summon an immortal crane. He rode it out of the Blue Snow Immortal Pavilion and arrived at the Mission Pavilion, which was built like a celestial pavilion. Because the news of Yi Qinfeng and Xia Wendy obtaining the supreme inheritance at the Dao Imparting Cliff was too shocking, their appearance was immediately recognized by others. For a moment, the two of them became the absolute center of attention. Many people discussed in low voices, paying attention to them. After passing through a thin layer of restriction, they entered the Mission Pavilion. Yi Qinfeng and Xia Wendy saw a large number of jade slips hanging on a row of ancient shelves. The jade slips were marked with contribution points. The deeper they went into the Mission Pavilion, the higher the contribution points were, and the fewer Snow Palace disciples there were to accept the missions. When they reached the last row, there was only a beautiful woman in a dark green dress. Her figure was curvaceous, and she exuded an enchanting charm. She was a beautiful woman. 6-star Dao Sovereign. Seeing this green-dressed woman, Yi Qinfeng's pupil shrank. He discovered that this woman was actually a 6-star Dao Sovereign. Her strength was likely equal to Yu Lanxin's. Seeing Yi Qinfeng and Xia Wendy walk over, the green-dressed woman coldly swept her eyes over them. Then, she no longer paid them any attention. She released her soul force into the jade slips and chose a mission that suited her. 30,000 contribution points, 50,000 contribution points, 80,000 contribution points. Yi Qinfeng released his soul force, penetrating the jade slips with tens of thousands of contribution points to choose a mission that suited her. Kill a 4-star Dao Emperor. Kill a king-level Saint Beast. Destroy the heavenly Wind Thunder Valley that is attached to the Celestials. Seeing the contents of the jade slips, Yi Qinfeng couldn't help but sigh at the difficulty of these missions. At the end of the selection, he developed a keen interest in a mission within a jade slip. Go to the Suicide Forest and pick suicide flowers. Each suicide flower could be exchanged for 1,000 contribution points. All right, this is it. Although Yi Chunfeng guessed that the suicide forest would be extremely dangerous and that picking suicide flowers would be extremely difficult, he still decided to accept this mission. If you don't want to die, I advise you not to accept this mission. As Yi Chunfeng reached out to take the mission jade slip, an icy cold voice entered Yi Chunfeng's ears. What? Is this mission very difficult? Yi Chunfeng turned his head and looked at the green-dressed woman from afar. Let alone you, even a one-star Tao Emperor wouldn't dare to accept this mission, the green-dressed woman coldly said. After she finished speaking, she took the mission jade slip and left. Chunfeng, how about we change missions? Xiao Wendy said in a soft voice. No, this is the mission. Yi Chunfeng shook his head, took the mission jade slip, and said, Let's go. We will go register and then go to the suicide forest. Elder, we will accept this mission. Yi Chunfeng handed over the mission jade slip to the elder in charge of registration and said, Suicide flower mission. The gray-robed elder's expression was startled. He looked at Yi Chunfeng and Xiao Wendy and said, If you don't want to die, then change missions. I can clearly tell you that anyone below the Tao Emperor level will definitely die if they accept this mission. We have confidence in completing this mission. Yi Chunfeng solemnly vowed. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng didn't listen to his advice, the gray-robed elder didn't say anything else. After registering them, he let them leave. In his opinion, he didn't need to waste his breath on two people who were about to die. Let's go. We will go to the suicide forest. Yi Chunfeng stored the mission jade slip in the universe mirror. He didn't inform Shui Piaomiao. He summoned the immortal crane of the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion and rode it out of the Jade Snow Immortal Pavilion, flying towards the suicide forest at an extremely fast speed. Yi Chunfeng and Xia, when he had just left the Misty Heaven sect, Shui Mingxian immediately received the news and revealed a trace of a sinister smile. I don't know if you are really stupid or pretending to be stupid. You actually dared to leave the Misty Heaven sect at this time. Since that's the case, let me send you to the Western Paradise. Chapter 1569. The Suicide Forest was located in the northwest of the Nihility region. A large number of saint beasts resided in the forest. Even Tao Emperors would find it hard to survive if they entered the forest. We're here. According to the map, the Suicide Forest is right in front of us. Yi Chunfeng stood on the giant red-crowned crane and looked at the boundless ancient forest in the distance. He rode the red-crowned crane and landed on the outskirts of the suicide forest. Chunfeng, why don't we fly directly into the suicide forest? We can save a lot of time that way. Xiao Wendy asked in confusion when she saw Yi Chunfeng enter the suicide forest from the periphery. I'm afraid that if we fly directly into the suicide forest, some people won't be able to find us. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile and summoned the three ancient array flags and the ancient sky-shrouding diagram. He used the complex forest terrain to seal this area. You're talking about the people from the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion. Xiao Wendy raised her brows and guessed who Yi Chunfeng was waiting for. That's right. Shui Mingxian will definitely not let go of this opportunity to get rid of us. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, But I'm very curious. Who will he send to kill us? Chunfeng, aren't you afraid that Shui Mingxian will come to kill us himself? Xiao Wendy knew how precious the supreme grade Saint True Spirit Art was. If Shui Mingxian came personally, with his strength as a 2-star Tao Emperor, he would be a great threat to them. I hope that Shui Mingxian will come himself. Although Yi Chunfeng's current strength might not be Shui Mingxian's match, as long as he awakened the Torch Dragon, he could kill him in seconds. All right, let's wait here. If I'm not wrong, they should be coming soon. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and silently circulated the soul-devouring art. He absorbed the dense heaven spirit chi in the suicide forest and consolidated his cultivation, preparing to break through to the 1-star Tao Emperor realm. After about an incense stick's worth of time, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul power sensed more than 10 powerful auras rapidly approaching them. They're here. Yi Feng suddenly opened his eyes and looked into the distance through the lush foliage. Cheng Feng, did Xuan Mingxian personally come? Xiao Wenyi asked somewhat nervously. No. Yi Feng shook his head and said, it's just as I expected. In order to avoid suspicion, Xuan Mingxian didn't leave the Misty Heaven sect, but he sent the person he trusted the most. Snow Saliva 1? Xiao Wenyi guessed. That's right, it's Xue Si, the #1 disciple of the Snow Palace's younger generation. Yi Feng nodded and said, I wonder if third senior sister would be grateful to me for killing Xue Ti. Even at this time, you're still thinking about your third senior sister. If you like her so much, do you need me to pull some strings for you? Xiao Wenyi rolled her eyes at Yi Feng. Although third senior sister is beautiful, her temperament is too cold. She's not my type. Yi Feng laughed bitterly and said, all right, my great beauty Xia, prepare for battle. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. An ear-piercing sound of something breaking through the air was heard. 13 experts of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion, led by Xue Ti, appeared in the suicide forest, blocking Yi Feng and Xiao Wenyi's escape route. Oh, what a coincidence. Isn't this junior brother Yi and junior sister Xia? I didn't expect to see you here. Zhou Yun, who had a bad relationship with Yi Feng, looked at Yi Feng and Xiao Wenyi with a sinister smile and said sarcastically, Zhou Yun, do you know why you're doing worse than others? It's because your IQ is a little low. Yi Feng shook his head and attacked him without holding back. Damn it, you're still so stubborn even when you're about to die. When you capture me later, I promise you'll regret going against me. Zhou Yun didn't expect Yi Feng to mock him at this time. He was so angry that his face turned green, and he said fiercely, I'm about to die. Yi Feng sighed softly and said, you think we're waiting for death here? Why? Did you expect us to come? Shueli frowned slightly and looked coldly at Yi Feng. He was a little surprised that Yi Feng was still so calm. Is it that hard to guess? Yi Feng said indifferently, will Xue Mingxian let go of such a good opportunity to get rid of us? So, you're deliberately waiting for us to come. Shueli's brows were tightly knitted together. Looking at the calm Yi Feng, he suddenly felt a little uneasy in the depths of his heart. That's right. Yi Feng nodded and said, Xue Mingxian is so anxious to get rid of us and take the misty sword scripture from me. Should I give him a big gift? Damn it, you're just a 4-star Dao Saint. How dare you play tricks? A 3-star Dao Master received Xue Gai's message and suddenly roared. He held a spear that was a supreme-grade divine weapon and thrust it toward Yi Feng like a black flood dragon coming out of its cave. With a sharp sound of air friction, it pierced toward Yi Feng. Crack! As the 3-star Dao Master stabbed with his spear, a pair of supreme-grade sacred weapon gloves immediately appeared on Yi Feng's hands. He met the attack and punched the sharp tip of the spear. The next moment, a force that was beyond the 3-star Dao Master's imagination rushed into his arms through the spear like a broken dam. The terrible force directly tore his arms into thousands of holes, and his whole body retreated uncontrollably. Before Shueli and the others could come to his rescue, a sword shadow flashed under Yi Feng's feet and broke out a force of more than 1 billion pounds to hit him. Bang! The 3-star Dao Master was knocked away by the force that burst out from Yi Feng's body and smashed into an ancient tree in the distance. The ancient tree was broken and his body turned into a cloud of blood mist. Seeing Yi Feng defeat the 3-star Dao Master with absolute strength, Shueli's eyebrows were tightly knitted together. Zhou Yun, who wanted to kill Yi Feng to vent his hatred, was so scared that he trembled and could not help but take a step back. Yi Feng, I underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have cultivated your body to the level that surpasses that of an ordinary sacred beast. Although Yi Feng's battle strength was amazing, Shueli, as the #1 genius of Snow Palace, had experienced many storms and waves. He did not show a trace of panic on his face. He looked coldly at Yi Feng and summoned a long sword that was a low-grade, true spirit sacred weapon. No matter how strong your body is, it still can't make up for the gap between our realms. But if you can die in my hands, you can smile even in the netherworld. Is a 1-star Tao Emperor very strong? Yi Qianfeng sneered and stopped hiding his strength. A Tao energy that shocked Shui Li and the others awakened in his body. The strength of the Tao energy made Zhou Yun and the others feel suffocated and breathless. 6-star Tao Master. Sensing that Yi Qianfeng's strength had reached the level of a 6-star Tao Master, Shui Li's pupils shrank into the most dangerous pinhole, and the uneasiness in his heart grew stronger. 4-star Tao Master. Then, they felt that Xia Wendy's strength had also reached the level of a 4-star Tao Master, and a low-grade true spirit sacred weapon was floating above her head. Who are you people? Why did you sneak into the ethereal heaven sect? Shui Li did not expect Yi Qianfeng to be so secretive and asked with a gloomy face. Dead people don't need to know so much. With that, Yi Qianfeng controlled the 3 ancient formation flags and the sky-shrouding diagram to restrict the entire space and block the escape route of Shui Li and the others. Then, he summoned the Sacred Eclipse sword and launched a ferocious attack at Shui Qi. Chapter 1570. A 6-star Tao Master wants to kill me? You must be dreaming. Shui Qi snorted coldly as he charged forward with his sword. He clashed with Yi Qianfeng. Wong! When the 2 sword tips collided with each other, Yi Qianfeng burned his primordial blood, instantly increasing his strength by 3 times. More than 3 billion jin of strength gushed out of the Sacred Eclipse sword, shattering Shui Mui's attack and bending his low-ranked True Saint sword, forcing him to take a step back. What? Senior brother T.E. was forced to retreat. In the eyes of Zhou Yun and the others, Shui T.E. was an invincible existence. Even in the entire Misty Heaven sect, there were not many who could defeat him. They could not believe that Yi Qianfeng had actually forced him to take a step back. The strongest person in Snow Palace is only SOSO. Yi Qianfeng shook his head and summoned the supreme quality Saint Treasure Sword Wings. With a shocking sword chi, he continued to launch ferocious attacks at Shui Qi, suppressing his attacks. Senior brother T.E. can deal with that little bastard. Let's capture Xia Wendai first. Zhou Yun looked at the beautiful Xia Wendai and said maliciously, Okay. Although Xia Wendai was a 4-star Tao Master, Shui Mingxian had also sent a 6-star Tao Master. With him in charge, they could control the situation. Demon Ba, come out. With a thought, Yi Qianfeng summoned out the Demon Ba sealed in the ancient bronze coffin. He placed the Demon Ba in front of Zhou Yun and the others, blocking them. Then, a ferocious roar sounded from the ancient bronze coffin. Demon Ba, who was surrounded by thick demon chi, pushed open the thick coffin lid and roared at Zhou Yun and the others. Blood! I want to drink blood. Ba! How did he subdue a Ba? Although Zhou Yun and the others had never seen a Ba before, they had read about it in ancient books. Ba was the king of zombies. Its strength was extremely terrifying. The strongest Ba's strength could surpass the limit of Demon Emperor and reach the level of Demon Master. It could single-handedly defeat many forces in the Qingyun realm. Demon Ba, kill them for me. Yi Qianfeng gave Mo Ba the order to kill. Roar, leave it to me. Mo Ba let out a roar that did not sound like a human's. Wielding a dragon-patterned saber that weighed several million jin, he slashed towards Zhou Yun and the others with endless demonic energy. And at this time, Xia Wendy also summoned her low-grade, true spirit saint robe. The hidden spirit robe appeared around her, and with the clear feather spirit saber in hand, she attacked together with Demon Ba. No, don't kill me. Zhou Yun was the weakest out of all of them. In just a single exchange, he was injured by the demonic chi that erupted from Mo Ba's body. He fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood as he begged for mercy with a pale face. Trash! Xia Wendy revealed a merciless expression. She wielded the pure feather spirit saber, a low-grade, true spirit saint artifact. She interweaved with a terrifying Tao will and slashed at Zhou Yun, splitting him in half and killing him on the spot. After killing Zhou Yun, Xia Wendy followed behind Mo Ba. She channeled the secret art of Azure and continuously sent out powerful seals of Azure, bombarding the experts of the Sunset, Snow, Immortal Pavilion. They kept worsening their injuries and suppressing them. Screams constantly rang in their ears, but Xue Li turned a deaf ear to them. He deduced the sword Dao that he cultivated to the extreme, using speed to fight speed. He was like two shadows of wind as he fought fiercely with Yi Qinfeng. Firmament Seal. When Xue Li used his absolute attack to repel the sacred eclipse sword, for profound Dao diagrams appeared on Yi Qinfeng's body. His hands rapidly formed seals, forming a giant hand seal that seemed to be nurturing the firmament. It fused with the power of the surrounding space and imprinted on Xue Li's longsword. Boom! The firmament seal shattered, and a terrifying power forcibly broke Xue Li's attack. Sacred Flame, Triple Transformation. After experiencing Xue Li's strength, Yi Qinfeng no longer held back. He ignited 3 sacred flames and fused with the power of the heaven-suppressing orb and sacred blood orb. He forcibly raised his strength to the pinnacle of a 1-star Dao Emperor and continued to fight fiercely with Xue Li. Sacred Blood Flame Technique. Sensing Yi Qinfeng's sudden increase in strength, Xue Li no longer held back. He executed the Sacred Blood Flame Technique and stimulated the bloodline power in his body, increasing his strength to the greatest extent. Blood Flame First Sword. Xue Li roared. His bloodline power and powerful Dao will fuse together, forming a blood sword in the void. It interweaved with a sea of blood and dyed the space red. It slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. Yi Qinfeng was clear about the consequences of killing Xue Li. He didn't execute the misty sword scripture. Instead, he used the various inheritances of various races. That way, it would be useless even if Xue Mingxian came personally. True Spirit Dragon Wrestling Fist. Yi Qinfeng kept the Eclipse Sacred Sword and raised his physical strength to the limit. He fused the power of the 4 mystic gray Dao diagrams and constantly blasted out fist lights that could kill a true dragon. He forcefully shattered the blood sword in the sea of blood. And what a terrifying sacred art. Who is he? Why is his foundation so deep? After witnessing the terror of the true spirit dragon wrestling fist, the uneasiness in Xue Li's heart grew stronger. He had a feeling that Yi Qinfeng's true spirit dragon wrestling fist had reached the level of a high-grade true spirit saint skill. Blood Flame Triple Sword. Xue Li deduced the Dao that he cultivated to the limit and executed the strongest sword move that he had grasped. 3 overlapping sword lights surged forward like rolling waves of blood. They turned into a terrifying, devouring mouth that swallowed Yi Qinfeng whole. The power that erupted from Xue Li's blood flame triple sword was extremely terrifying. However, Yi Qinfeng didn't dodge. He roared, and his robust body continued to expand. He transformed into his true spirit body and continuously blasted out the true spirit dragon wrestling fist, bombarding the devouring mouth formed by the blood flame triple sword. Boom, boom, boom. Earth-shaking explosions rang out incessantly. The 2 great true spirit saint skills fiercely clashed in the air, setting off boundless waves of wind that swept out in all directions, causing the entire space to tremble. Golden Sword Spirit Slash. When Yi Qinfeng executed the true spirit dragon wrestling fist and clashed with the blood flame triple sword, a golden sword light flew out of Yi Qinfeng's sea of soul. With a dazzling golden light, it slashed towards Xue Li, whose expression changed slightly. Golden Sword Spirit. It's really the Golden Sword Spirit. Back at the preaching cliff, Xue Li had a vague feeling that Yi Qinfeng might have cultivated the Golden Sword Spirit. However, he knew the difficulty of condensing the Golden Sword Spirit. Coupled with Yi Qinfeng's cultivation realm, he denied his own guess. But now, he realized that he wasn't wrong. Yi Qinfeng had really condensed the Golden Sword Spirit. Blood-killing sword array. At the critical moment, Xue Li summoned 108 Supreme Grade Saint Swords and quickly formed a powerful blood-killing sword array in front of him to block the attack of the Golden Sword Spirit. Looking at the 108 supreme grade saint swords that formed the sword array, Yi Chunfeng's eyes suddenly lit up. He was currently lacking supreme grade saint swords, and Xue Li had delivered them to him. All right, I won't play with you anymore. I'll send you to hell. With that, Yi Chunfeng summoned a mid-grade, true spirit saint treasure, the Green Luan Sacred Bow. He forcefully pulled it open and controlled the golden Tao power in his body to surge into the sacred bow. He condensed it into a powerful Green Luan sacred arrow and shot it towards Xue Li. Bang! Under the attack of the Green Luan sacred arrow, the blood-killing sword array that was cracked by the golden sword spirit was penetrated. Under Xue Li's horrified gaze, the arrow shot towards his chest. Between life and death, Xue Li constantly revealed his life-saving trump cards to block the attack of the Green Luan sacred arrow. However, Yi Chunfeng burned his primordial blood and had endless Tao power. He continued to pull the Green Luan sacred bow to attack Xue Li. Under the continuous attack of the Green Luan sacred arrows, the life-saving trump cards that Xue Li summoned were constantly shattered. In the end, Xue Li was powerless to resist and was pierced through by the Green Luan sacred arrows. He turned into a cloud of blood and exploded to death. Chapter 1571. No, don't kill us. After witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng killing Xue Li, the three disciples of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion who were desperately resisting Mo Ba and Xia Wendy's attacks were terrified. They continuously begged for mercy. 80? Chinese. 1. Isn't it too late to be afraid now? Yi Chunfeng said mercilessly as he continued to draw the Green Luan sacred bow and attack. Soon, the remaining three disciples of the Sunset Snow Immortal Pavilion were killed by the Blue Luan sacred arrow. They turned into clouds of blood mist and died on the spot. Matzi, let's go. With a wave of his hand, Yi Chunfeng took away Xue Li's belongings and summoned Mo Ba back to the universe realm to destroy their corpses before flying into the depths of the suicide forest with Xia Wendy. About an hour later, Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy appeared in a secluded valley and took out the spoils of war from killing Xue Li's group. 108 Supreme-Grade Sacred Swords. Xue Li, thank you so much. Yi Chunfeng realized that the 108 Supreme-Grade Sacred Swords obtained from killing Xue Li were of extremely high quality. With them, the Universe Sword Array's power would increase by leaps and bounds. Mid-grade Sacred Art, Sacred Blood Flame Art. Other than the hundreds of Supreme-Grade Sacred Swords, Yi Chunfeng also found the Sacred Blood Flame Art's cultivation scroll and his weapon, the low-grade Sacred Artifact, Heaven-Slaying Sword, among Xue Li's belongings. After witnessing Xue Li's Blood Flame Triple Sword, Yi Chunfeng knew the value of the Sacred Blood Flame Art. He was prepared to use it to trade for something useful in the future. Other than that, he also obtained a lot of mid-grade and high-grade heaven crystals, a large number of sacred pills, and supreme-grade sacred artifacts. Oh, what's this? At the end of the inspection, Yi Chunfeng found a brocade box sealed with layers of restrictions among Xue Li's belongings. When he forcefully broke open the brocade box's restrictions, he saw 3 Longan-sized, milky white pills with 3 pill veins that emitted a refreshing fragrance. This is a 3rd-grade sacred true pill. As Yi Chunfeng stared at the pill, its quality appeared in God Dieter's mind. 3rd-grade true spirit pill. I wonder if I can reach the limit of a 6-star Tao Master with the help of this true spirit pill. Yi Chunfeng was well aware of the value of a 3rd-grade true spirit saint pill. It definitely surpassed a low-grade true spirit saint artifact. He gave one to Xiao Wendai and took one himself. He circulated the soul-devouring art and quickly refined it for cultivation. The level 3 true pill contained an extremely large amount of medicinal power. When it melted in Yi Chunfeng's body, it immediately released a majestic medicinal power. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was too strong. The medicinal power released by the 3rd-grade true spirit saint pellet couldn't harm his body at all. He endured the pain in his body and quickly refined the medicinal power to increase his strength. Xiao Pattern Butterfly's body was not as strong as Yi Qinfeng's. When she took the rank 3 True Spirit Saint pill, she suffered quite a bit of pain. Fortunately, her Tao heart was strong. She endured the pain and circulated the numinous sky scripture to refine the pill. Soon, 5 days passed. In these 5 days, Yi Qinfeng refined 2 third-grade True Spirit Saint pellets and raised his strength to the limit of a 6-star Tao Master. Xiao Wendai broke through the bottleneck and reached the 5-star Tao Master realm with the help of the powerful medicinal power of the 3rd-grade True Spirit Saint pellet. I actually broke through. The moment she broke through, Xiao Wendai revealed a look of surprise. She never dreamed that she would break through another realm so quickly. The 3rd-grade True Spirit Saint pellet is indeed powerful. If Yi Qinfeng wasn't an ordinary person, he could have broken through to the 1-star Tao Emperor realm by refining 2 3rd-grade True Spirit Saint pellets consecutively. Let's go, Matsi. Let's find a pool. Your current appearance is really damaging your beautiful image. Yi Qinfeng looked at Xiao Wendai, who was covered in blood, and said with a smile, "It's none of your business." Xiao Wendai blushed and rolled her eyes at Yi Qinfeng. But in her heart, she was grateful to Yi Qinfeng. Without Yi Qinfeng, she wouldn't have broken through so quickly. The suicide forest was vast and boundless. There was no lack of pools. Soon, the two of them found a quiet pool. "When I'm bathing, you're not allowed to peek. Otherwise, I'll dig out your eyeballs." Xiao and Dai looked at Yi Qinfeng with reddened cheeks and warned fiercely. "Fisk, it's not like I haven't seen it before," Yi Qinfeng said indifferently. Under Xiao and Dai's fiery gaze, he walked to the side. Xiao Wendy ground her teeth as she watched Yi Qinfeng walk into the distance. She took off her little boots and walked into the ice-cold pool with bare feet. She took off her clothes in the pool, and the filthy blood that was forced out from her body after breaking through her cultivation realm was clearly visible. Soaking in the cool pool, Xiao Wendai felt refreshed. Strands of spirit energy entered her body through her pores, making her feel so comfortable that she couldn't extricate herself. When Xiao Wendai washed the blood off her body and was preparing to change into a clean set of clothes, she suddenly saw Yi Qinfeng appear on the shore. Her cheeks turned red, and she sank her body to the bottom of the pool. She covered her chest with her hands and said, What are you doing? Hey, Matsi, what are you so nervous about?" Seeing the wet and nervous Xiao Wendai, Yi Qinfeng lightly sighed and said, "That night when you threw yourself into my arms, I was still indifferent. Do you think I would have bad intentions?" "Yi Qinfeng, what do you mean by that? Am I not beautiful enough to attract you?" Xiao Wendai ground her teeth and angrily said. She wanted nothing more than to bite Yi Qinfeng a few times. "All right, if I were you, I would quickly put on my clothes and come out. Otherwise, I feel that you might jump out of the pool. At that time, don't say that I took advantage of you and took advantage of you," Yi Qinfeng said as he looked at the furious Xiao Wendai. After being reminded by Yi Qinfeng, Xiao Wendai's sharp perception suddenly sensed danger at the bottom of the pool. Her expression slightly changed, and the invisible spirit clothes immediately appeared on her body, covering her enchanting body as she leaped out of the pool. The moment she leaped out of the pool, a black demon eel that was hundreds of meters long suddenly opened its bloody mouth and bit at Xia Wendy, who had leaped into the air, trying to swallow her into its stomach. Mystic rank sacred beast. Sensing the level of the black demonic eel, the golden sword spirit broke out of Yi Qinfeng's sea of soul. It turned into a blinding golden light in midair and slashed at the black demonic eel. Its huge body was cut in half, and it died on the spot. A large amount of blood dyed the lake red. "Now you know that I wasn't trying to peek at you." Yi Qinfeng pointed at the black demon eel's corpse that was spewing out blood and lightly said, "Yi Qinfeng, is this lady so unattractive?" Xiao and Dai walked to Yi Qinfeng's side and angrily said, "Let me tell you, this lady is very angry." Without waiting for Xiao and Dai to finish speaking, Yi Qinfeng suddenly hugged her tightly and pressed her soft body against a thick, ancient tree. He revealed a smile and said, "If you really want to have something with me, I don't mind." Feeling the squeeze of Yi Chunfeng's body and being so close to Yi Chunfeng's deep eyes, Xiao Wendai felt as if a little deer had appeared in her heart, jumping around. An alluring blush appeared on her delicate cheeks. In the next moment, Xiao Wendai's expression instantly changed. She forcefully pushed Yi Chunfeng away and said, "You pervert! If you dare to touch this lady will turn you into a eunuch in a matter of minutes." Yi Chunfeng, Chapter 1572. Chaos Divine Beast, Golden Clear Dragon Bloodline, Space Swallower, come out. Yi Chunfeng realized that he could not read Xia Wendy's mind. Ignoring her, he summoned the 3 sacred beasts and had them devour the demonic core of the black demonic eel to increase their strength. By Chinese network is almost equal to demonic qi. The demonic qi here is so thick. Sensing the demonic qi hidden in the suicide forest, the Chaos Divine Beast's eyes lit up. After returning to the Qingyun realm, it felt like a dragon returning to the sea. It was no longer suppressed by the soul-fighting continent. As long as it devoured enough demonic cores and demonic beast flesh, it could recover its strength in the shortest time possible. It could also regain its memories and remember who suppressed it. Yes, this suicide forest is known as a forbidden zone for life. There are many sacred beasts living here. I heard that there are even powerful king-level sacred beasts in the depths of the forest. Yi Chunfeng nodded. King-level sacred beasts. Oh my god, this is our heaven. If I devour the demon core of a king-grade saint beast, I can definitely recover to the level of a Xian-grade saint beast. If I devour a dozen king-grade saint beasts, I can also recover to the level of a king-grade saint beast. The Chaos Divine Beast's eyes were burning with excitement as he spoke. Although the golden clear dragon bloodlion and the space swallower did not say anything, they were also excited. Let's go. Let's go deeper into the suicide forest and see where the legendary suicide flower is. It is worth the reward from the misty heaven sect. After the 3 sacred beasts devoured the black demonic eel, Yi Chunfeng did not waste any more time. He and Xia Wendy rode on the Chaos Divine Beast and the Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion respectively and rushed into the depths of the suicide forest. Sensing Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy's aura, a large number of demonic beasts in the suicide forest were attracted. However, these demonic beasts were not a threat to Yi Chunfeng. He controlled the Golden Sword Soul and killed them easily. The demonic cores of the demonic beasts were also divided among the Chaos Divine Beast and the other 2 sacred beasts. Soon the sky darkened. After a day of slaughter, Yi Chunfeng, Xiao Wendai, and the 3 saint beasts retreated into the universe mirror to rest. After devouring a large number of demonic cores, the Golden Dragon Bloodlion, a Chaos Divine Beast, showed signs of evolution. On the other hand, the Space Swallower, a mid-level sacred beast, showed no signs of evolution. Obviously, the evolution of the Space Swallower required more energy and was more difficult. However, if the Space Swallower evolved to a certain level, it could directly devour space and form a powerful wormhole. By then, Yi Chunfeng could use the Space Swallower to travel through space at will. Early in the morning, Yi Chunfeng, who had recovered his Tao energy, brought the Shaoan butterfly and the 3 saint beasts out of the universe realm. They searched for the suicide flower while killing the powerful demon beasts in the suicide forest. Soon, 3 days had passed. Yi Chunfeng and his group had ventured deep into the suicide forest, but they had yet to find a single suicide flower. On the other hand, the Chaos Divine Beast and the Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion had successfully evolved into mystic divine beasts after devouring a large number of Saint Beast cores. Their strength was comparable to a 2-star demon venerable. The sound of a waterfall. Let's go to the waterfall in front to rest. Yi Chunfeng, who had just killed a profound rank holy beast, horned purple-eyed snake, faintly heard the sound of a waterfall in the distance. He immediately brought Xia Wendy and the other 3 demonic beasts to a waterfall that was several thousand meters long and looked like a silver dragon. What a strong demonic qi. Standing under the waterfall, Yi Chunfeng's sharp senses could sense a terrifying demonic qi in the waterfall. This demonic chi was definitely stronger than a mystic-class sacred beast and had reached the level of a king-class sacred beast. Everyone be careful. If I'm not wrong, there is a king-class sacred beast hidden in this waterfall. Yi Chenfeng's eyes narrowed as he stared at the waterfall that resembled a silver dragon. Through the pouring waterfall, he could vaguely see a black hole in the middle of the waterfall. The demonic beast that he suspected to be a king-level sacred beast was hiding in the black hole. King-class sacred beast. The chaos divine beast's small round eyes glowed with a fiery light. After leveling up, the effect of swallowing a mystic-class sacred beast to increase its strength was no longer obvious. If it wanted to continue recovering its strength in a short period of time, it had to hunt down a king-class sacred beast. You guys wait for me here. I'll go to the black hole behind the waterfall and see what kind of sacred beast is hidden inside. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng concealed his aura and stepped into the void to reach a height of several hundred meters. His body flashed as he broke through the rushing waterfall and rushed into the waterfall cave. Who are you? Why have you barged into this king's cave? An enraged voice rang out beside Yi Chenfeng's ear. The terrifying voice caused his eardrums to tremble slightly. He hurriedly controlled his Dao energy to seal his ears. Suicide flower. Yi Chenfeng stood at the entrance of the cave and stared at a burly man who was about 20 feet tall. His entire body was covered in purple mottling, and his muscles were bulging with explosive power. Unexpectedly, two trumpet-shaped flowers appeared behind him. They were sparkling and translucent, without a single trace of impurity. Their stamens were like braziers, and they were emitting spirit chi. These flowers were the suicide flowers that he had been searching for. So you're also here for the suicide flower. The burly man noticed that Yi Chenfeng's gaze was fixed on the two suicide flowers. His strong body immediately burst out with a shocking amount of demonic chi. He locked onto Yi Chenfeng and said, "Greedy human, die." After saying that, the burly man threw a punch at Yi Chenfeng. The terrifying fist light dragged a long demonic chi and merged with the power of space. He wanted to kill Yi Chenfeng, who had barged into his cave. Facing the burly man's fist light, Yi Chenfeng did not dodge. He stimulated the power of his 5 acupoints and waved his fist to meet it. Boom! A huge explosion resounded. The power in Yi Chenfeng's fist was shattered by the burly man's fist. The terrifying fist power bombarded Yi Chenfeng's body and directly blasted him out of the waterfall, falling outside. What a powerful force! Worthy of being a 2-star demonic emperor, king, level, saint beast. After smashing a huge hole in the ground, Yi Chenfeng, who was covered in blood, crawled up from the ground. His face revealed a trace of solemnity. "Chenfeng, are you okay?" Xiao and Dai quickly came to Yi Chenfeng's side and asked with concern. "I'm fine." Yi Chenfeng shook his head. He took a deep breath and said, "All of you back off. I'll deal with that king-level saint beast myself." After saying that, he summoned the upgraded Cosmos sword formation, holding the Eclipse sacred sword and Sky kill sword. He flew into the sky and engaged in a fierce battle with a burly man who had crashed through the waterfall. Boom! After an intense battle, Yi Chenfeng was still unable to withstand the burly man's ferocious attacks. He was blasted away by the burly man's powerful demonic chi. He crashed into an ancient tree that was a few hundred meters tall and fell to the ground. Primordial bloodline ignition, sacred fire, triple transformation. After being injured by the burly man consecutively, Yi Chenfeng did not dare to hold back anymore. He quickly ignited his powerful bloodline power and 3 sacred fires, forcibly raising his strength to the limit of a 1-star Dao Emperor. He once again engaged in a fierce battle with the burly man. For a moment, there was a violent tremor in the radius of a few miles. A terrifying force swept through everything, raising large patches of vegetation to the ground. Chapter 1573. Puny human, be obedient and become a dead soul under my mouth. The burly man roared and ignited his powerful bloodline power. He transformed into his strongest battle form and wanted to kill Yi Chunfeng in one fell swoop. 8. 1. Chinese network equals equals. Equals 8 less than or equal to 1 equals Z less than or equal to is almost equal to. Greater than or equal to C less than or equal to O greater than or equal to M. You want to kill me? You're still too weak. As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Green Yuan sacred bow and burst out with 3 billion gene of strength. He forcefully pulled the sacred bow and fused the 4 mystic grade Dao diagrams into the sacred bow. He then shot it at the burly man who was surging with killing intent. Swish! As the Green Yuan sacred arrow flew past, a deep arrow mark appeared in the space. The fearsome sacred bow made the burly man feel a deep sense of danger. He instinctively dodged to the side. However, the moment he dodged, Yi Chunfeng pulled the Green Yuan sacred bow again, forming a powerful Green Yuan sacred arrow and shooting it at the burly man. The burly man was unable to dodge and could only face the attack of the Green Yuan sacred arrow head-on. PFFF. The burly man's powerful demonic energy was directly penetrated by the Green Yuan sacred arrow. The fearsome Green Yuan sacred arrow penetrated his defense and sent his huge body flying. Let's see how you're going to fight me without a true spirit saint artifact. Although the burly man was strong, he was only an ordinary sacred beast. He had left the demon race and didn't have a powerful true spirit saint artifact. When he was attacked by the Green Yuan sacred bow, he instantly fell into a disadvantage. Despicable human. Do you only know how to rely on treasures? Facing Yi Chunfeng's relentless attacks of the Green Yuan sacred bow, the burly man dodged and cursed loudly. However, Yi Chunfeng wasn't moved. He continued to pull the bow and attack the burly man, worsening his injuries. Roar! Roar! As his injuries became more and more serious, the burly man could no longer maintain his strongest battle form. He returned to his original form, which was a demonic bull the size of a small mountain. His entire body was covered with skin as hard as rock, and his horns were as sharp as swords. He spat out mouthfuls of anger, trampled through space, and charged toward Yi Chunfeng. Swish! 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 When the demonic bull charged over, Yi Chunfeng continued to draw the Azure Yuan sacred bow and shot out 3 arrows consecutively. The entire space trembled under the attack of the Green Yuan sacred bow. Ayo, ayo, ayo! A series of painful roars rang out. The 3 cyan phoenix sacred arrows directly shattered the attack of the demon ox and sent it flying. Its mountain-like body smashed into the distance, creating a huge crater in the ground and causing the entire ground to tremble. Universe Sword Formation, Universe Strike. When Yi Chunfeng shot the demonic bull, the incomparably sharp Qianquan swords quickly fused together and turned into an incredibly powerful invincible divine sword. With the frightening power of space, the sword slashed towards the demonic bull. As the demon ox was too heavily injured, it was unable to dodge the attack of the Cosmo Sword Array. One of the sword slashed its huge body, leaving behind a sword mark that revealed its white bones. As its injuries continued to worsen, the demon ox was filled with fear. It unwillingly looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was holding onto the Green Yuan sacred bow, and wanted to escape. Ancient Formation Flag, Sky Restriction. Yi Chunfeng was already prepared. The moment the demon ox tried to escape, he summoned 3 formation flags and restricted the entire space, sealing off the escape route of the demon ox. Following that, he continued to attack with the Green Yuan sacred bow, riddling the demon ox's huge body with thousands of holes. Large amounts of blood gushed out from its body like a fountain, forming streams of blood that flowed out. Lowly human, if you have the guts, fight me fair and square. What's the use of external forces? The demon ox's voice was as loud as a drum as it provoked Yi Chunfeng. All right, as you wish. Out of the demon ox's expectations, Yi Chunfeng suddenly put away the Green Yuan sacred bow and descended from the sky, appearing in front of the demon ox that was heavily injured. Moo! The demon ox would never let go of such an excellent opportunity. It roared towards the sky, disregarding its injuries, and attacked Yi Qinfeng. True Spirit Dragon Wrestling Fist. The demonic bull charged towards Yi Qinfeng with a suffocating pressure. Yi Qinfeng immediately transformed into his powerful true spirit body and continuously unleashed his absolute kill fist aura, which was enough to kill a true dragon, towards the demonic bull. Boom! A series of earth-shaking explosions resounded. After being continuously attacked by Yi Qinfeng's true spirit dragon wrestling fist, the demon ox was forced back. The terrifying true spirit dragon wrestling fist constantly shattered the demon ox's defense and cracked its head. After forcing the demon ox back with a few punches, Yi Qinfeng endured the pursuit and transformed into his ultimate form with 3 heads and 6 arms. He waved his 6 thick arms and burst out with over 3 billion pounds of strength as he engaged in close combat with the demon ox. Although the demon ox was incomparably powerful and had reached the level of a king-level sacred beast, it had been continuously attacked by the green Luan sacred bow. After losing a large amount of blood, its injuries were too severe. It was simply unable to display its full strength. After fighting for half an incense stick's time, the demon ox's huge body was repeatedly blasted away by Yi Qinfeng, and its battle strength was rapidly weakening. Ayo, ayo, ayo. Human, even if this king dies, I will drag you to hell. Unable to withstand Yi Qinfeng's ferocious attacks, the demon ox began to go all out. It burned its powerful bloodline and demon core, exploding with the last of its strength. Like a meteor, it continuously charged towards Yi Qinfeng, wanting to smash Yi Qinfeng into pieces. True Spirit Dragon Wrestling Fist. Facing the crazy demon ox, Yi Qinfeng deduced the 4 profound level Dao diagrams to the extreme, amplifying his attack and facing the demon ox head-on in his strongest state. Although Yi Qinfeng was also under great pressure at the beginning, as the demon ox's injuries worsened, Yi Qinfeng completely gained the upper hand. The demon ox's incomparably hard head was shattered by the true spirit dragon wrestling fist, and a large amount of blood flowed out. After the demon ox tested the strength of its body, Yi Qinfeng summoned the green Luan sacred bow again and shot out 3 arrows, directly piercing through the demon ox's head and crushing its soul, killing it on the spot. Chaos Divine Beast, Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion, Space Devourer Bug, this demon ox's corpse is yours. The injured Yi Qinfeng put away the 3 ancient array flags and flew back to the waterfall cave, arriving in front of the 2 suicide flowers. Such pure energy, the value of this suicide flower is probably no lower than a 1-star true spirit saint pill. Feeling the spirituality of the suicide flower at such a close distance, Yi Qinfeng knew its value. Moreover, Yi Qinfeng had a feeling that the misty heaven sex reward for the suicide flower was not to be consumed directly, but to be refined into pills. Only then could the suicide flower's medicinal efficacy be maximized. Retrieve. With a thought, Yi Qinfeng summoned the golden sword spirit and cut off the fertile soil around the suicide flower bit by bit, transplanting them into the universe mirror. Once outside, he used the spiritual pearl of life to heal his injuries and waited for the 3 sacred beasts to devour the demon ox. About 6 hours later, Yi Qinfeng had completely healed the injuries caused by the close combat with the demon ox. As for the 3 sacred beasts, after devouring the demon ox's beast core and flesh, their strength increased by varying degrees. Especially the Space Devourer Bug. It had begun to evolve into a high-grade sacred beast. Let's go. We will continue to enter the suicide forest and look for the suicide flower. After knowing the value of the suicide flower, Yi Qinfeng wanted to pluck a few more back. That way, he would be able to obtain a large amount of contribution points and exchange them for the necessary items to break through to the 1-star Dao Emperor realm. P.S. Another 200 people on WeChat, and it can add up to another 100 people. When that time comes, Yinlei will release more updates. If you want Yinlei to release more updates, please add her WeChat account. Y1TY83.